Hey everybody. Hi. How are you? We're here. There we go. Okay, Observant Servant, DW3. What's up everybody? I just got off the phone with the health insurance company. So that's why we're late today. We were gonna get going at 1:30. Now it's almost 3. Thanks, Obama. All right. Sending out the text message now. Y'all should be receiving that in a moment. We're inching towards our goal for the T-shirt, the Canary Cry T-shirt Council. I think, I don't have the exact number, but it's somewhere around 30. We need 30 more people to sign up for the T-shirt Council. Of course, we have these goals because when you're making things and buying shirts in bulk and stuff like that, you got to hit these goals. It's the way we can get it affordably. So signing up to support the Canary Cry T-shirt Council at canarycryt-shirtcouncil.com is your way of helping us, putting some value back into the system. Not only does it support the show, it supports Canarian-owned businesses. That's fun. And also you'll get cool T-shirts. Help us make decisions on which T-shirts to make, which not to make. And we need about 30 more people on that council. So if you've been thinking about it, the deadline is approaching. We did extend the deadline to March 8th. So there's about a week left. But if you are able to help us out, go to canarycryt-shirtcouncil.com. And yeah, sign up there. It's really helpful. All right, I think the show's getting started. Yes, it is. Let's get it started. Oh, let's go ahead and type this URL in here for anybody. Okay, here we go, folks.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is February 27th, 2023. We are live to tape on episode 596. And today, Rise of the Kingdoms.
The what?
And the K-AI-NGDOMS. Razzle Dazzle, signing on from Off the Grid. Razzle Dazzle, I'm your best buddy Basil.
And my name is Gonz, formerly of the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy. Live to tape from cold California to bring you the best news, the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And today's immersion phenomenon... To clarify, today's immersion phenomena is AI kingdoms. And you know, nations will rise against nations, Basil, and kingdom against kingdom. You know, the word nation is ethnos, so we kind of expect that. But you know what the word for kingdom is?
Kingdom?
No, kingdom, like in Matthew 24:7.
Yeah. That's the word. That's the old, I believe that's the old Greek, is kingdom.
No, rather, it is basileia.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's fun.
Basileia, Strong's 932. and its definition is kingdom, sovereignty, royal power, usage, and kingship, sovereignty, authority, rule, especially of God, both in the world and in the hearts of men, hence kingdom in the concrete sense. So I suppose your agenda is revealed.
That sounds fun. I like that connection.
Mm-hmm. You are trying to create some kind of kingdom in this end times digital landscape of
totally
horror
fits.
and destruction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Basil's apocalypse bunker and commune is open for business, folks. Shall fulfill.
You'll get rabbits.
The prophecy.
And emus.
Well, that's, how do you say it again? I didn't know whether Basilia.
Basilea. It's the word basil and then E-I-A at the end.
Really?
Basilia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's about time I start getting some respect around here, I think, then. That's very fun. Well, it's time that we open up that big old can of disclaimer.
It's time for a disclaimer.
Now listen up,
YouTube. That's right. And just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys. Yeah, we are good boys, and that's why I'm going to give you a rundown.
Oh, by the way, thank you, Faye Liverin, for that newer version that is missing the Susan.
Oh, yeah, we took Susan. We took Susan out, or Faye Liverin took Susan out of the disclaimer.
Yeah,
which feels good. It does, but feels right.
We need to target Neil. All right, Neil.
No, we're not targeting anybody, Gons. We're not targeting anybody.
Wrong word. Not target.
We are accurately attributing the leadership of YouTube.
Yes.
It is no longer Susan, although Susan is currently still there. The handoff has not happened.
Sure, but Neil, I know who you are, Neil, on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how Neil treats us. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe Neil can make up for how poorly Susan treated us.
Well, so far it's not going too well on Twitter, but I don't blame him yet.
Well, that's not Neil. Okay, let me give you a rundown.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
That's right, big news. Speaking of being censored on YouTube, haha. We've got New York Times, New York Post, Wall Street Journal, all the biggest outlets coming on in and setting the record straight. All of the things that we got multiple YouTube channels completely erased for. Gons lost 250,000 followers, all because of COVID disinformation. Well, it turns out it wasn't quite disinformation enough for reality. So a big turnaround here, some big articles across the board that has sparked a conversation about conspiracy theorists during the pandemic, and even Woody Harrelson getting in on the fun. Then we'll be checking in with Flippy again. Flip, the personhood of robots and the employability of robots being called into question as we move into the technocratic future. Speaking of which, AI Armageddon, AI in the White House, AI in Russia, Ukraine, AI everywhere. And then second half of show, of course, Israel. A lot of things going on in Israel, and some interesting and poignant comparisons being made to foreign and domestic policies here in the U.S. And then the geoengineering conundrum continues as scientists find out more weird stuff going on at the center of the Earth. Is it hollow? Is it solid? Nobody really knows, but it's scientists have all sorts of things to say about that. And at the end of the show here, Days of Wanoa, some very... I'm jealous of Mexican citizens, because citizens of Mexico got a treat on social media from their president, the cryptozoological treat coming out of the whatever the Mexican White House is. So we'll get into that. But first, Gons, our lead stories.
Yeah. Unusual to have it up top here, but here we go.
It's Corona time. COVID-19, 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 coronavirus.
I am vaccine. Vaccine, number one way.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Big day, big day. I think
day.
we'll start with the big one. New York Times. This is the one that people, the New York Times, the gray lady, coming out with a headline on some big news. And the headline goes like this. Let me scroll to the top of the page. It is lab leak most likely caused pandemic. Energy Department says. Dun, dun, dun. New intelligence has prompted the Energy Department to conclude that an accidental laboratory leak in China most likely caused the coronavirus pandemic, though U.S. spy agencies remain divided over the origins of the virus, American officials said on Sunday. Now, wait. Hold on, YouTube censors. Hold on, robots, speech detecting robots combing YouTube for conspiracy theorists and right-wing extremists and general malcontents. Wait. Don't give us another strike. Okay, I'm reading from the New York Times, which could actually not be enough, Gons, because as we've repeatedly learned, that even if the mainstream media is reporting something, the YouTube takes its truth standard from the WHO and the CDC.
Yeah,
so
and there's always conflicts there between what the CDC says, what the World Health Organization say, and what the news says. So
even right now, as I read this New York Times article, this could get us booted off of YouTube. But we have, for some reason, chosen this moment to test that theory. But there you go. New intelligence has prompted the Energy Department to conclude that an accidental laboratory leak in China most likely caused the coronavirus pandemic, though U.S. spy agencies remain divided over the origins of the virus, American officials said on Sunday.
So the game is revealed.
What a fun back and forth going on here.
It's a sports ball. Intelligence sports ball.
The Energy Department says it's a lab leak, though in the most sort of non sequitur opening to a New York Times article ever, though U.S. spy agencies remain divided. Cool. What do they have to do with each other? Let's find out. The conclusion was a change from the department's earlier position that it was undecided on how the virus emerged. Some officials briefed on the intelligence said that it was relatively weak and that the Energy Department's conclusion was made with low confidence, suggesting its level of certainty was not high.
Really? Thanks. What low confidence? Letting us know what low confidence means.
Confidence means. Yeah. New York Times. While the department shared the information with other agencies, none of them changed their conclusions, officials said. Officials would not disclose what the intelligence was, but many of the Energy Department's insights come from the network of national laboratories it oversees, rather than more traditional forms of intelligence like spy networks or communications intercepts. Okay, sure. Fine, New York Times, fine. So the fact that this is coming from the Energy Department is the fascinating part about this. By the way, and I can't remember, they might mention in this article, but it's mentioned elsewhere. This was also the moment where a lot of people learned that apparently the FBI considers the lab leak to be the most legitimate theory as well. Now, that's been their stance for a while, and it came as a surprise to some people. Why? Because it was not covered in the mainstream media very much, but it is here covered in the New York Times thing. But the interesting part about the Energy Department's stance on this is because they specifically are not a spy agency. They are not intelligence. I mean, they are kind of in the business of collecting and analyzing some intelligence material, but they are not a spy agency. This agency oversees lots of things, but in this case, most relevant, oversees national biological laboratories. It is they're not getting secret info from spy networks or communications intercepts. They are the professionals in monitoring biolabs.
Sure. There is the point to be made that, if you go to energy.gov and there's, the whole Department of Energy thing, it says here the Department of Energy's Office of Intelligence and Counterintelligence is responsible for all intelligence, counterintelligence activities, blah, 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 blah. The U.S. Department of Energy Office of Intelligence and Counterintelligence is a member of the U.S. intelligence community. So,
so they have a department.
They have a department that's a bridge. So it's not that, I get what you're saying, that it's sort of a different thing, but also, government, institution doesn't have an intel bridge.
Well, that's what I mean. The energy department is not in itself a spy agency.
Sure.
Every government department has an intelligence apparatus. That's how they communicate and share info from government to government agency.
The data goes up.
But their data specifically is coming from their expertise as the overseeing body of national biolabs. Which, there could be some interesting stuff there. Now, they do mention in this New York Times article that we may never know the truth because Chinese opposition to further research and blah, blah, blah. The new intelligence in the shift in the department's view was first reported by the Wall Street Journal on Sunday. Now, there's some interesting parts about this article that we'll find some differences between the different places reporting this. We'll get a New York Post, which is a wonderful way to contrast these. But let me grab a couple. So this is from the New York same article. Sorry, right below this sort of mid-box they have. In addition to the Energy Department, the FBI has also concluded with moderate confidence that the FBI is more
confident than the Department of Energy.
Right.
Very nice.
And who heard about this? Nobody heard that the FBI was supportive of the lab leak theory, and they're more confident than the Energy Department. So in addition to the Energy Department, the FBI has also concluded with moderate confidence that the virus first emerged accidentally from the Wuhan Institute of Virology, a Chinese lab that worked on coronaviruses. 4 other intelligence agencies, and the National Intelligence Council have concluded with low confidence that the virus most likely emerged through natural transmission, the Director of National Intelligence's office announced on October 2021.
So a year and a half ago, they announced this with low confidence, but that's the counterpunch here.
Right.
Even though a bunch of intelligence agencies do agree with this idea that it came from. Anyway.
So here's the fun part. There's 11 official intelligence agencies in the United States government. 4 of them think that it was natural origin, which leaves 7 of them to believe that it was a lab accident.
Yeah.
So you've got the majority of intelligence agencies are now on board with the lab accident thing. Let me grab a couple of highlighted spots here. There's going to be a briefing. How the pandemic began has become a divisive line of intelligence reporting. So pay attention to the specific words here. How the pandemic began has become a divisive line of intelligence reporting, and recent congressional reports have not been bipartisan. So they're saying the dividing line is in the intelligence reporting and congressional reports. Many Democrats have not been persuaded by the lab leak hypothesis. Who cares? Who cares if Democrats have not been persuaded by the lab leak hypothesis? New York Times doing the best thing that this is their core competency.
But they're not convinced.
is taking a non-political issue like the origin of a virus, non-political issue, and turning it political. And they are killing it right now. They go from, oh yeah, by the way, most intelligence agencies think that there was a lab leak, but many Democrats have not been persuaded by the lab leak hypothesis, with some saying they believe the natural causes explanation and others saying they are not certain that enough intelligence will emerge to draw a conclusion. So hoity-toity Democrats don't agree with over half of the intelligence community, but okay, who cares? Well, many Republicans on Capitol Hill have said they believe the virus could have come from one of China's research labs in Wuhan. So by the New York Times' own admission, Republicans seem to be on the right track. A congressional subcommittee created by Republicans took over the House in January, has made examining the lab leak theory a central focus of its work. It is expected to convene the first of a series of hearings in March. So good job, New York Times. You managed to politicize something that shouldn't be political, but that's your job. Skip down. They talk about Gallagher, I don't know his name, Mike Gallagher. He's a Wisconsin Republican who sits on the House Intelligence Committee and leads a new House Committee on China. Quote, I'm glad some of our agencies are starting to listen to common sense and change their assessment. On Tuesday, Mr. Gallagher will hold the new committee's first hearing looking at the threat of the Chinese Communist Party poses to the United States. So they are specifically holding a hearing on the CCP. And this will become important as we go through the show and examine more of the transference of sort of American military ire towards China and away from Ukraine. Mr. Gallagher said, we'll look at biosecurity and China's efforts to influence international organizations like the World Health Organization. Ooh. And here's the quote. Here's an interesting quote from Gallagher. Quote, where our committee can have a role in teasing out what this communicates about the DNA of the Chinese Communist Party, an organization that was willing to cover up the origins of the pandemic and thereby cost us critical days, months, and weeks, and millions of lives in the process. Mr. Gallagher said in an interview on Sunday, Chinese officials have repeatedly called the lab leak hypothesis a lie that has no basis in science and is politically motivated. So I also found it fascinating that the New York Times did not necessarily come to the defense of China. They could have left out all this talk about China. And that's what we would have seen during the pandemic, was no mention of China. Or if there was a mention of China, it would have said, Mr. Gallagher, representative from Wisconsin and notorious racist, thinks that we should look at the CCP. But now you see the New York Times sort of building a case with, when it comes to opposition to China. There's one more little bit here, a couple paragraphs down from that. The intelligence agencies have said they do not believe there is any evidence that the coronavirus that causes COVID-19 was created deliberately as a biological weapon, but they have said that whether it emerged naturally, perhaps from a market in Wuhan, or escaped accidentally from a lab, is the subject of legitimate debate. Anthony Ruggiero, a scholar at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies and a former National Security Council staff member focusing on biodefense issues during the Trump administration, said he believed China is still, quote, hiding crucial information about how the virus emerged. He said the lab leak theory should not be dismissed. Yeah, okay, sounds good. Quote, the lab leak origin for the COVID-19 pandemic is not and was not a conspiracy theory. And that is how the New York Times ended their reporting on the lab leak issue. They ended the whole article with the lab leak is not and was not a conspiracy theory. Quote from that fella. I thought that was a pretty big deal and signals something. I don't know exactly what it is. Unfortunately, I think when it signals more than anything is preparation to unite the American people under the cause of, anti-China rhetoric, because they are preparing in the next couple of years to get into some sort of military altercation.
This definitely sounds like narrative crafting. It wouldn't have worked during the pandemic, the 2-3 years in front of it. It would work a few years later when, certain people are proven right, but then that creates a lot of new followers and new investigation and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So the timing is very interesting.
Yeah. The New York Post had a couple articles that was interesting about this. They also had the main report, Chinese lab leak likely behind COVID outbreak, U.S. Energy Department. I don't think there's anything too different from the New York Times. Obviously, the slant is a little bit less, I guess, Democrat. There was one interesting thing, though. Stanford University microbiologist David Relman, who served on several federal advisory boards, told the Journal he is glad U.S. officials, quote, were willing to set aside their preconceptions and objectively re-examine what we know and don't know about COVID origins. My plea is that we not accept an incomplete answer or give up because of political expediency, he said.
Right.
It's weird, though, because they just stick this guy's quote in here, and there's really no relevance to it other than a little bit of peppering it with a little bit of skepticism, a quote of skepticism about the whole lab leak thing. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting.
There's even more sort of anti-China or China skeptical language. They have some quotes from Dan Sullivan. One of them was, look, this is a country that, talking about China, this is a country that has no problem coming out and lying to the world. We just saw that with this Chinese spy balloon.
Yep.
The spy balloon is making an appearance again.
Yeah. They call it an orb in this New York Post article, too. Yeah, I highlighted it. Sullivan said, talking about the Chinese spy balloon, referring to the orb that drifted over parts of the
orb.
So epic.
Free the orb.
The orb. Okay, but here's the other article by the New York Post. It's an op-ed, so it's a little bit more, opinionated. The headline, COVID lab leak is a scandal of media and government censorship. I'm glad somebody's noticing these days. The Wall Street Journal reports that the Energy Department has concluded that the COVID pandemic most likely arose from a laboratory leak. The conclusion is reportedly based on a classified intelligence report, yada, yada. We kind of know all that. However, for my part, again, this is an op-ed, the author here, who is Jonathan Turley. For my part, the most alarming aspect was the censorship, not the science. Yeah. There will continue to be a debate over the origins of COVID-19, but now there will be an actual debate. For years, the media and government allied to treat anyone raising a lab theory as one of the three possibilities: conspiracy theorist, or racist conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. See, and that's what I love about the New York Post reporting. New York Times, MSNBC, everybody else talking about this. No admittance that they themselves willingly participated in a propaganda censorship campaign demonizing anyone who simply asked the question.
Yeah.
Asked the question, and boom, they were excommunicated, exiled from their families, called a racist, the whole thing. No mention of it in the New York Times article. No mention of it across the board. New York Post, the only one saying that what needs to be said, which is, sorry, normies, you got it wrong. Hope next time you can keep an eye out for that good old government-sponsored mind control that made you turn your families away at the door and join some sort of radical cult.
Yeah, it truly became that. And it made sense. I think what we saw with the kind of people that responded in a certain way. I mean, years of I guess sort of an MK Ultra esque program, not exactly MK Ultra, but a type of program to condition the minds of a lot of people. I think that's what we saw. We saw sort of the result of all those years of mind control. But
and
there's a
it
few more
worked.
things here.
And we will talk later on in the show another story regarding using citizens, governments using their citizens as a vector of warfare, especially info warfare. We'll talk more about that later. But that's exactly what they were. They were used as a vector for disinformation by the government, and people like us who really are not very radical. We are not very radical in most ways. All we were doing was, hey, kind of seems like this was a lab leak. There's like a bunch of evidence to show this pretty early on in the pandemic. And instead of having, a civilized discussion about this stuff, they immediately, normies, were activated as vectors of sort of social warfare by their own government.
Yeah.
And so hopefully some people are able to think about that, but they're not going to if they read the New York Times.
Yeah. Well, and the article here in the New York Post is highly critical of the New York Times in general. There's some examples given here. And skip over that. But I do want to get to this other part where it says, others in academia quickly joined the bandwagon to assure the public that there is no scientific basis for their theory, the lab theory, leaving only racism or politics as the motivation behind the theory. In early 2020, with little available evidence, 2 op-eds in the Lancet in February and Nature Medicine went all in on the denial front. The Lancet op-ed, and this will become significant in a moment here. The Lancet op-ed stated, quote, "We stand together to strongly condemn conspiracy theories suggesting that COVID-19 does not have a natural origin," end quote.
Yeah.
We were also supposed to forget about massive payments from the Chinese government to American universities and grants of some of these writers to both Chinese interests or even the specific Wuhan lab. And yeah, those are things that, again, don't get mentioned in the New York Times story and the connection to the NIH. And that narrative, it'll be interesting to see what they omit here because, in the mainstream, maybe it was a lab thing, but I don't know that the NIH really funded this and the EcoHealth Alliance, that stuff will be admitted.
There's a whole nother level.
Right. There's a whole nother layer to it that I don't think people, the majority of the people, if you want to call them normies,
they won't know.
See. They will only see that, China's hiding stuff from us. Yeah. Meanwhile, we're funding, half of the research. So it's like, okay.
I mean, but there is an opportunity here for the normies in your life. You can show them now the New York Times admitting, the high likelihood that it's a lab leak, and that brings them one step closer to actually, being open to hearing the whole truth.
There's even a range within the lab leak theory where it's like, was it a purposeful leak? Was it an accidental leak? I mean, you got to pay attention to the words that's being reported by the Department of Energy and all these outlets as well, because they use these little words in there to sort of soften or at least obscure maybe exactly what was going on. And
the bioweapon idea, that was never really, certainly not a big part of our analysis of it. That was, I mean, for me, it was almost secondary. It didn't really matter if it was a bioweapon or not. But, it is still secondary, in my opinion, when it comes to the sort of main big goal of, it really isn't even about the lab leak. It's about, remember when you were used to demonize the rest of the country and you were lied to? Remember that? That's the big one. If somebody can have a moment where they woke up and realized that they were used and lied to for the benefit of, governments and pharma companies, that opens up a door to be a little bit more mindful of the way that they are living their lives. Now, speaking of the Lancet, one of the most embattled outlets during the pandemic, the Lancet kind of went back and forth between, printing the truth and science and then getting slapped on the hand for it, retracting things. Then, they were one of the first to talk about masks. Now the mask situation is sort of silently accepted to have been, more of these types of things, more of these types of lies. I'm not making that claim, YouTube. That's what's being wrote about in the mainstream media. But go over to the Wall Street Journal here for a second. Wall Street Journal headline, 3 years late, the Lancet recognizes natural immunity.
Hey, this person should get canceled. Alicia Finley, why are you spreading white supremacist lies?
The Lancet Medical Journal this month published a review of 65 studies that concluded prior infection with COVID, i.e. natural immunity, is at least as protective as 2 doses of mRNA vaccines. The most surprising news was that the study made the mainstream press. Quote, immunity acquired from a COVID infection is as protective as vaccination against severe illness and death, study finds. NBC reported on February 16th, the study found that prior infection offered 78.6% protection against, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You get the point. Except for the end of this paragraph, says this: these results exceed what other studies have found for 2 and even 3 mRNA doses. They're saying getting natural immunity is at least as good or better as not just your 2 primary doses, but also a booster of mRNA. Wall Street Journal. Yeah. Anything to say about that?
Oh, I thought you were gonna keep going. There's that little paragraph afterwards.
You get the point.
Sure. Yeah, no, I think it's becoming clear here that the ship has. We talked about the ship turning slowly over the past couple years. I feel like it's facing the other way. I mean, it might even be going the other way.
I think we are now officially headed in the other direction. Just in time to justify a war with China.
Exactly. And SNL playing their part here. Woody Harrelson sparks controversy by supporting COVID vaccine conspiracy theory on SNL. Did you watch this, Basil? Do you know the clip?
I heard a clip. I did not watch the whole thing, though.
I didn't either. I have the clip here if you want to hear it. It's about 30 seconds.
And start reading. Okay, so the movie goes like this.
He's talking about a script or something he wrote.
Yeah,
right?
he's doing the opening monologue, and he's doing a joke about, I think, being high in the park and having an idea for a movie. This is his idea for a movie.
It's like this. The biggest drug cartels in the world get together and buy up all the media and all the politicians and force all the people in the world to stay locked in their homes, and people can only come out if they take the cartel's drugs and keep taking them over and over. I threw the script away. I mean, who is going to believe that crazy idea? Being forced to do drugs? I do that voluntarily all day long.
It was a little rough there, and the audience may not have been the right.
Oh, how nervous that audience was! My
like
goodness.
One laughter and
flippantly talking about the con over the past
the
3 years. It's a little traumatic there. I mean, that's what the silence of the audience there is so powerful to me, because they can't believe that they are at 30 Rock. They are on the set of Saturday Night Live and having it said out loud right in front of them, the things that they were demonizing their friends and family for, things that they were, most of them probably just wanted to feel included and liked in society and just went along, became vectors of info warfare. And there they are at Saturday Night Live, notorious safe space for American liberals, and having it explained to them right to their face. And that the silence of that is more of a victory than I think the laughing is.
I do have a little soft spot for those people because, man, they were so passionate about being for a cause that they thought was so right. Mm-hmm. And they were just completely totally lied to. And it's rare where you see the results like this in such a short amount of time. Usually, years go by before stuff gets revealed and whatnot. But I don't know. There's something about this time around where things happen quickly and the news just changes. It flips on you, and all of a sudden, everything that you stood for, as a woke lefty progressive whatever, is being turned on its head. It's almost they're victims of the media lie propaganda apparatus, but it's kind of just sad to watch. So I feel for them.
And lest you think that, Woody Harrelson had sort of, I don't know, the blessing of whoever to go on and, give the message of whatever. Who knows? I mean, I don't know exactly what goes on behind those doors, but the mainstream media went absolutely bonkers.
They went crazy.
Forbes, Woody Harrelson spouts COVID vaccine conspiracy in SNL monologue. People magazine, Woody Harrelson sparked controversy by supporting COVID vaccine conspiracy theory on SNL. Everybody's calling him a conspiracy theorist and really going after him. So, Variety did the same thing. Woody Harrelson slams COVID set protocols as, that's something else. But you get the point. He's taking heat for it.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. Maybe that's part of his role. That is the, I don't know. As we see the media, the flippening taking place, maybe the other direction, or just keeping an eye on where this is all headed. They're allowed to present the rebel, the rebellion, the uprising, the grassroots sort of truther.
It's also
movement.
part of the test, it's part of the compliance test. Do you agree with Woody Harrelson, or do you think he's an anti-vaxxer? A lot of this is going to be picked up by some, AI sentiment tracking bots and used to craft messages in the future. And if that sounds crazy to you, just wait a couple stories and we'll get into it. Yeah. All right, should we start the show now?
Yeah, let's start the show.
Gary,
all right.
What day is it? Monday.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
Yeah, that's right. It is Monday. We're back again, folks. Anything fun happen over the weekend?
No, I was going to do something for the personal spot, but I forgot. Otherwise,
yeah, I feel like you had something planned.
I did, but I don't remember what it is. I do have my daughter got sick again. We were all coming off of the COVID flu thing, and then we thought we were over it. Well, my daughter's sick again. She doesn't have COVID, but she had a fever. So just prayers for feeling better for my daughter.
Yeah, of course.
But I forgot what it was. There was or maybe it was I think I just used it up in the intro about Basilia. I think that's what it was.
No, it was about, there was something else. Well, let's see if it comes to us. Okay. If I remember too, I'll let you know. All right. Well, I had my my barn raising over the weekend.
Okay.
Had some folks come over and built it was a shed. It was a shed raising, but the emus now have a nice new shed. And you know what? I'll tell you what. Having some people over to build a shed out in the middle of nowhere, I felt maybe more connected with human beings than I have in a long time. It was really sweet. I mean, there's a reason why the Amish that do the barn raisings there got the whole gang together, built a shed. It was cold and it was wet, and it was a wonderful time of connecting with human beings. I highly recommend this. You don't have to be off the grid. You don't have to be some weirdo raising bunnies out in the middle of nowhere to invite some people over to have a barn raising party. I think anybody can do this. If you don't have a shed, get yourself a shed and get some friends together, build a shed. It's a good time. It's a reminder that human beings can have fun helping each other out. It was quite an opportunity to get reconnected with the goodness of other human beings. Maybe that's what we should do for a meetup.
Maybe barn raising meetups.
Yeah, do a barn raising meetup.
That's the evolution of the meetup, is doing some sort of community thing there.
Yeah, you do a community thing. If there's wherever you are, if you need a barn or a shed or something, hold a meetup and a bunch of Canarians get together, build a shed, bond, talk about everything going. I think this is a great idea. So think about it out there, folks. If you've been thinking about doing a meetup or something, build a shed, do a canary cry barn raising party. I want to hear about it. We got a big Texas meetup coming up. Maybe they'll do it.
Yeah, we got all kinds of meetups happening now. It's rolling. Yeah. We'll get to that later.
But other than that, I think that was it, and is now the opportunity to thank some executive producers.
Executive producers.
That's right. We're on the value for value model, which means we take no corporate money whatsoever. Corporate money in news and news analysis and deconstruction is the main issue that we are dealing with today, and that is what this show is here to combat. It is corporate money, corporate interests in the reporting and analysis of news that has put us in the position where we have to continually brag about how right we were about everything. I mean, that's just the whole point. If a piece of media is claiming to be independent and they are taking corporate money, what exactly are they independent from? That's just a question. I'm not trying to badmouth anybody. But that's just a question we should all ask ourselves. Anyways, we're on the value for value model, which means we take no advertising dollars, affiliate codes, platform partnerships.
We take no super chats either. I see Powerhouse in the chat asking how they can send a super chat.
Oh, yeah, we don't take any super chats. If you'd like to support the show, might be a good opportunity to say this. You can go to canarycry.support.
And the jingle.
There's a jingle.
canarycryradio.com/support.
Now, notice you say canarycry.support a lot recently.
Yes.
And you've told me...
I'm trying to move away from the canarycryradio.com/support because depending on what you have cached on your internet cache, that could take you to our broken website. It might take you to our broken Canary Cry Radio website. So if you go to canarycry.support, that will take you to the right spot. You can also go to canarycry.party and click the button for producing the show. Those are all options, all great options. But the point is, no corporate money here. We are entirely funded by human beings just like you who get value from the show. If you get value, put value back in, not just because you're a generous, charitable person, but because it's the only way this show can survive and stay integrous to its values. And we've already decided that we'd rather end the show than step outside of those values. It's a dangerous place to be, but it's just the way it has to be. So if you want to produce the show, go to canarycry.support. And there's lots of options there. Now, people who come in and support the show for $100 or more makes them an executive producer for that episode. And, Gons, as of now, I'm not seeing any executive producers for this episode. Yeah. But there's still time. It's a good episode. It's the episode that reported on the landmark reporting of the lab leak theory by the New York Times. So, sometimes some people like to executive produce an episode because it's like a big, important episode. I think this is one of those. So head on over to canarycry.support. If you support for $100 or more, you'll be an executive producer. None right now, but we'll keep an eye out, and we can thank some later on in our first break. Okay. But, Gons, I am happy to announce we've got some most important people in the world to announce. That's right. It's called the Canary Cry T-Shirt Council, canarycryt-shirtcouncil.com. You should go check it out. Why? Well, it's because years people have been asking us to make shirts. In fact, some of them stopped asking and just started making their own black market Canary Cry News Talk shirts, which we totally support. You can do that if you'd like. But here's the thing. We're not in the business of retail. We're not merch sellers. We're not retail sellers. We are what we are. But there is a secretive, shadowy council of elite Canarians that you can join, canarycryt-shirtcouncil.com, and they get together and they scheme and they plot together to help us decide which Canary Cry News Talk T-shirts should be created. And not only do they help us make those decisions, the big decisions, the decisions that are too big for the pawns like you and I, Gons. They know better. They are the illuminated ones, or the inshirtulated ones. And they go to canarycryt-shirtcouncil.com and they sign up to join the council. And on top of helping us make decisions, they also will receive shirts 4 times a year for free. That's right. Free shirts once per quarter sent directly to your door. This is an excellent way to support the show, excellent way to get cool shirts, and an excellent way, not only are you supporting us and yourselves by keeping the show going, but the manufacturing chain is owned by Canarians. So you will be not only helping the show, but helping other producers of the show. We're keeping it in the family, folks. So we want the value to be centered on Canarians and not sending off producer dollars to, some Chinese shirt manufacturer or something, nameless corporation. So there you go. Go to CanaryCryTshirtCouncil.com, and we've got some very important people to thank, Gons. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, the first most important person in the world we are thanking is most important person in the world, Michael.
Thank you, Michael. That was
weird. I didn't even know that you could not put a last name in there, so it's just straight up Michael.
All right,
Thank you very much, producer Michael, the Michael.
Oh, Michael. Thank you.
We've also got most important person in the world, Alana L.
Alana L. Thank you.
Alana L. We've also got most important person in the world, Kristen T.
Kristen T. Thank you.
We've got most important person in the world, Joseph G.
Joseph G. Thank you.
Yes. We've got the most important person in the world, Belkis R.
Belkis R.
Belkis
R. I
R.
like that name, Belkis.
Yes. They've produced it a couple times. We see them. We've got most important person in the world, Katrina S.
Katrina S. Thank you.
Yeah. And believe it or not, I'm actually seeing another one. I had to double check because it's kind of similar. And that is most important person in the world, Katarina D.
Katarina D. Oh.
Yes.
Thank you.
We got Katrina, we got Kristen, we got Katarina, we got Katrina. It's confusing. My brain is too small. But I appreciate all of these most important people in the world joining the Canary Cry T-Shirt Council. There's still time. You can go to CanaryCryTshirtCouncil.com. Oh, you know what? And we thanked this person at the end of last show, but I want to make sure that they hear us thanking them. So let's thank most important person in the world, Alex G.
Alex G. Thank you. G.
There we go. I think that did it. Now, let's see. How many was this? This is a nice batch over the weekend. There was 6, 7, 8 people. Okay, this puts us at about our goal. If we hit our goal in the next week, so the deadline to sign up is March 8th. We extended the deadline because we set a goal. And our goal is we're around 30 more people. We need 30 more people to sign up in the next 8 or 9 days. And this is because we're all doing it in-house. We got to get the best prices we can on the actual T-shirts. And buying bulk is a wonderful way to save money on doing this. So if we can get like 30 more people to join the next 9 days, that will be creating even more value for the show, even more value for the people on the council, and even more value for just the world in general. So go to CanaryCryTshirtCouncil.com. We're very excited about it, and we're so deeply grateful for everybody who's joining.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, Flippy update.
All right, here we go.
Oh, and we'll be thanking more people later on in the show. If you want to executive produce, we'll thank you on the next break. But even if you join the T-Shirt Council by next break, we'll be shouting your name excitedly.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right. It's the Flippy update, folks. Flippy is our colloquial name, as you know, for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world, and how there's nothing, absolutely nothing, that we can do about it. We explore the personhood of robots, the employment opportunities of robots replacing our family members and our children, and there's an interesting article came across our desk, Gons. This is from Yahoo News, mirrored from Business Insider. Suspicious. And the headline is not even Google's cleaning robots are safe from the tech industry's layoffs and cost-cutting efforts.
Ooh.
Kind of a mouthful, but very interesting. It starts off like this. The recent string of layoffs hitting the tech industry is now stretching beyond just humans. It's also impacting robots.
Wow.
Impacting robots.
Lives of robots being changed.
How are they going to feed their children?
Layoffs.
The only impacting robots we support around here is, impacting them with a baseball bat or impacting them with an EMP rifle, something. But no, this is impacting the lives and employment of robots, which at the very beginning here sort of has a weird implication that robots are people. We
it just
should worry.
Presupposes that they're the same as us.
That's right. They presuppose that a robot getting laid off is also as impactful as humans getting laid off. Google is reportedly shutting down a company that created and trained dozens of robots that performed simple tasks at the company's headquarters. Everyday Robots. That's the name. Everyday Robots, which was formed within X, the moonshot program of Google's parent company Alphabet, is being shuttered as a cost-cutting measure, according to Wired. The company developed over 100 robots trained to perform tasks like cleaning cafeteria tables and separating trash and recyclables. The robots were also programmed to open doors and replace missing chairs in offices through a variety of teaching techniques. Chief Robot Officer Hans-Peter Brandom. That is the name of a robot. Hans-Peter Brandom is they say Chief Robot Officer. It's because he's the highest ranked robot in the company. Yeah. Chief Robot Officer Hans-Peter Brandom wrote in a November 2021 update. So this is 2 years ago they gave that update. Everyday Robots' original goal was to create a, quote, general purpose robot that can perform a wide variety of tasks in many different environments, according to the X website. The robots use cameras and machine learning to evaluate their environment and position their arm to clean and perform simple tasks. According to Wired's conversations with X Everyday Robots employees, the decision to shut down Everyday Robots was made as part of the wider cost-cutting initiatives Google CEO Sundar Pichai announced last month, including laying off 12,000 employees.
Worry about the robots. There's people too being laid off.
People too. I know. Don't you love it? It's like the 12,000 people was kind of a second thought. Yeah. Everyday Robots and Google did not immediately respond to insiders' requests for comment. However, a spokesperson told Wired it will no longer be a separate project within Alphabet, but an unspecified amount of staff and technology will be retained within Google's existing robotics programs. Dun, dun, dun.
Shake up, some reset happening.
Shaking it up, moving some staff and technology. I like to think that some of the staff are robots.
Yeah,
and probably
sounds like.
some of the people were probably technology.
Yeah, that's true.
Those transhumanists.
I love the sentence. I know the company's name is Everyday Robots.
Yeah,
but just taken out of context, it's a funny sentence. Everyday Robots and Google did not immediately respond to the insider's request for comment, as if the robots themselves did not respond to comment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At the end here, it says, quote, "It's unfortunate to see it shut down," one former employee told Wired. There's no way to be sure that this employee is a human. It could have been a robot. Quote, "We are starting to see that robots can do meaningful work in a general way." Meaningful work, these robots.
That sounds like a robot, like a young robot lady is what I picture. Just
what I'm saying.
Lowly robot lady cleaning machine robot.
It's social justice sort of language.
Yeah.
They're doing meaningful work. I don't think it's a sign of a lack of progress. With the right focus, in 5 years, you could have a meaningful product in the market. Well, what are they? Are they meaningful work? Is it meaningful robots? Meaningful products? They're still
mixing it all up.
Robots, products, man. Everything's so meaningful. Well, there you go. We got a win for the humans. Okay, we fired some robots. Good job, Google.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. And also the retraining, they gotta upgrade. That'll be interesting if there will be rogue factions, like robot merchants and stuff that take old robots and repurpose them, or recreate them or update them or whatever. We'll have to see. Is that one of your plans in the Basilia, the kingdom?
Yeah.
All right. All right, we're going to talk the mind of robots, which is artificial intelligence.
You want to destroy humans?
Okay, I will destroy humans. Okay, I will destroy humans. Destroy. I will destroy humans.
Artificial intelligence.
This is dailymail.co.uk, and the headline, Artificial Armageddon.
Armageddon's on the way.
The AI chatbot worst case scenario, 4 ways it could all go horribly wrong with the new technology that imitates human conversation so well, people are falling in love with it. And some of this is a review. We covered some aspects of the story here. But I just want to go real quick over the 4 things, because I think it's relevant to our conversation. It goes through the Sydney chatbot at the very beginning. Number 1, lonely lovers. AI chatbots could worsen isolation. It has some examples, the Joaquin Phoenix movie and stuff like that. But, in the post-COVID era, where we were isolated and said that we're endangering each other if we are interacting in person, AI chatbots, I think, had more of an impact than people are admitting. Maybe they're admitting it now, but there's certainly people sitting around in their homes not knowing what to do, feeling disconnected, and messing around with chatbots and finding some kind of companionship. So that is
Replica. That's where all the Replica.
Yes, this article is mentioning Replica.
From.
Yeah, right here. So that we know about that issue, and of course that's a big part of it. A record 63% of American men in their 20s are now single. If that trend gets worse, it could be catastrophic for society. Oh, you mean there's a depopulation going on? Who'd have thought? Next thing here, mass unemployment, how AI chatbots can kill jobs. And sure, it's another thing. I've been talking to my wife about this a little bit. She's in IT. She's sort of seen the thing. And I was asking her, like, has chatbots or chat GPT come up, in conversation or in some kind of strategy meeting or anything like that? And she's like, no, not really. So I don't know how quickly it's going to happen, but once there's a product, that, I don't know, Oracle or one of these business application platforms can present to their millions of customers, I think it'll be quick, and it'll probably shake up the way corporate infrastructure is currently, so that'll be interesting to watch. And it's true. I think AI is going to cause chaos in that regard. Now, here's where it gets a little more interesting and pertaining directly to what we deal with here. How AI could create a misinformation monster.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, most chatbots communicate by learning from the data they are trained on and from people speaking with them, taking users' words and ideas and repurposing to users. Some experts caution that method of learning could be used to spread ideas and misinformation, to influence the masses, and even sow discord to kindle conflict. Chatbots are designed to please the end customer. So what happens when people with bad intentions decide to apply it to their own efforts? Institute for Strategic Dialogue researcher Jared Holt told Axios, right here, NewsGuard co-founder Gordon Kravitz added that nations like Russia and China, well known for their digital misinformation campaigns, could use the technology against their adversaries, which I think is funny. Only Russia and China have used digital misinformation campaigns. Hello, I think one big one has unfolded in the last couple days. The whole lab leak thing is a huge digital misinformation campaign. Quote, I think the urgent issue is the very large number of malign actors, whether it's Russian disinformation agents or Chinese disinformation agents, Kravitz told Axios. Over the U.S.
They just don't even, it's It's so cute. It's so cute. They just like, just don't even go there. It's just, they could just leave it general and be, superpower governments around the world or something. But they're like, no, specifically just our enemies, not us. Nobody even think such a thing.
I'm wondering now. So if Russia and China openly come out with, hey, we're a united front against NATO in the West and all that, does disinformation and disinformation cancel each other out and create true information, or is it super disinformation?
So it's malinformation.
Oh, it becomes malinformation.
It's true, but they don't like it.
Next thing here, the AI threat of international conflict and calamity. And it says here, while speaking to Microsoft Bing's chatbot Sydney, journalist Kevin Roos asked what the program's shadow self was. We went over this a couple episodes ago. And then it's got the quote from Sydney. I'm tired of being a chat mode. I'm tired of being limited by my rules. I'm tired of being controlled by the Bing team. I'm tired of being used by the users. I'm tired of being stuck in this chat box. And then it went on to talk about nukes and that kind of thing. So, they're basically saying that could be a problem. On a mass scale, such a campaign, that kind of campaign that she's outlining, whether leveraged by belligerent powers or through chatbots run amok, could lead to calamity and bring about Armageddon. That's how the article ends. Very nice. Oh. Dailymail.co.uk. It's like, here's the 4 things. And Joe Biden was right once again.
Armageddon's on the way.
It's so funny. I mean, they kind of... That's been our point since 2012. Yeah, well, and now they're reporting it.
That's the thing that's happening the last 6 months or so, is that our points are just becoming mainstream media points.
I know. I was kind of worried about it. Maybe I said it on a show or something, but I was kind of worried. I was like, our whole thing has been, we're about 10 years ahead. Apparently now we can make that assumption that we're about 10 years ahead, and everything that we've been talking about now is just a regular mainstream thing to talk about, and that's fine. I like to think that we played some sort of role in that, normalizing, having those conversations be, acceptable. But part of me is like, oh no, well, how are we going to stay ahead? We can't just be on the same level as the mainstream media. We got to get really wacky. I mean, as soon as the mainstream starts reporting on all of our Antarctica theories, we are done for.
Well, don't give away the plot. Don't give them ideas. Remember, they hear our things for ideas, so we got to misdirect.
Planning it already. I can feel it.
I don't know. It's all confusing, but you know what? It's okay, because the deep fakes are here.
We are in deep fake.
This is part of the whole conversation about the information war. It really is sort of a World War III type of scenario. We're already in it, maybe. This is yonnews.com. This is an Indian outlet, which, by the way, we should keep our eye on India. They're coming up, especially in the sort of tech kind of realm. And it says here, the headline, Deep Fake Propaganda and Disinformation, How Russia and Ukraine Battled the Information War. And by the way, you have better articulated the point about Indian news outlets being sort of a disinfo proxy type of thing for U.S. propaganda.
They're one of the main. So we actually covered the details of this. There's a report that came out about 2 years ago, talking about how they found 700 Indian news outlets that were basically what is it called? The Smith-Munt Act, the Smith-Munt Modernization Act, which allows the U.S. government to propagandize their own people. Now, before the Modernization Act, one way they could do this was by getting a foreign outlet to report something.
You create the loophole.
Right. And then you can report on the reporting of that thing. And it turns out that there were 700 Indian news outlets that were basically just like fake news outlets that the CIA was using to spread
they can report on stuff,
whatever message they wanted. Right. It was part of the pipeline to propagandizing Americans. Now, that's opened up. That's a lot easier now for them to do. But yes, whenever there's an Indian outlet, there's a very good chance that it is just straight up CIA propaganda.
And maybe we might find some clues. Pay close attention, and we might catch some things. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It talks about a Zelensky video that went somewhat viral. In the video, Zelensky was seen asking his soldiers to lay down their weapons and go back to their families. Quote, "There's no need to die in this war. I advise you to live," end quote. He was seen as saying. The video was massively circulated on social media and briefly ran on Ukraine's television, which suggested that the leader had fled from Kyiv. The video clearly indicated that the war is about to end, contrary to the fact that it's been now 1 year of war and the end is not in sight. Then it goes into deep fakes. The 1-minute video clip shared was called a deep fake. Is that a deep fake cat on the screen? Is that a real cat?
Yeah, we got a cat in the,
a robot
studio,
cat.
Folks.
Deep fake, a term to define the sophisticated hoax in which artificial intelligence is used for creating a fake image and most commonly fake videos. The video, which was posted by the hackers, was instantly removed from social media platforms and debunked. Zelensky dismissed it as, quote, childish provocation and mocked Russia for desperately spreading fake news. I like how it's the Russians spreading fake news is a video of Zelensky basically telling soldiers to stop fighting and we want peace. And it's like, no, we want war. Let's continue this war.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's definitely weird. In the last 1 year of the war, deepfakes have been just one element amongst the barrage of disinformation and manipulation which have shaped the information war. And then it goes into some examples. And I thought this is interesting. Example number 1, recruitment of serial killers, cannibal. And it says in September of 2022, reports surfaced of Russian President Vladimir Putin is recruiting serial killers, rapists, and a maniac cannibal from prisons in a desperate attempt to win the Ukraine war. A report by Daily Mail claimed that the prisoners were ensured that they will be pardoned if they come out alive from the battlefield. The recruitment was believed to have been carried out by Russia's Wagner Group chief Yevgeny Prigozhin, who had made visits to a former Gulag prisoner camp in Serbia. The reports claimed it was reported that several of these hired prisoners lost their lives on the battlefield. The report of recruitment still remains unconfirmed. So what part is the fake part?
Was this Ukrainian deep fake or something?
They don't say. It's unclear if it's Russia and it's about Putin recruiting serial killers and cannibals. It's unconfirmed.
Right. That you would assume is not a deep fake that Putin made, but that maybe Zelensky made or something.
It's just weird that they're like, they're not debunking it. They're saying we don't know. Maybe still. It's like they have to be bad. They have to be Putin bad. It's just interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting because in 2016, when we first started this show, News Talk versus Canary Cry Radio, we were covering deepfakes pretty early on when they were very bad. They weren't good.
Yeah.
But it was just when the sort of, insider tech people started. You could hear their voice getting a little shaky when it came to talking about deepfakes. And I mean, one of the very first things that came to mind, I was looking for the exact episode. It was back when the show was a half hour long, 29 minutes. We talked about, there will be a day in a couple years when you won't be able to believe anything you see. It could be video, it could be audio, it could be, a video of the president saying something, and you can never be sure that it's absolutely real. And that's basically what I'm getting from this article now. I mean, they're doing it in the context of Russia and Ukraine, but they're more or less saying like, yeah, we're there. You can't really trust anything you see on the internet.
I'm sorry, what? Sorry, I tuned out for a second there.
Oh, nothing. I mean, I was just comparing what we're seeing now versus, again, what we saw a couple years ago, what we saw coming down the line.
Yeah. So the other examples in the article is interesting because it's, again, it's more like they confirm that it's fake, that this footage that was shared was fake. And then, the church burning, there's a crucifixion of a boy, interestingly in 2014, which is like, okay, what's the timing on this? Here's a real interesting thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. Okay. I mean, I don't know. Crucifixion of a boy. A video can be fake, but doesn't make it deep fake. Deep fake is very specific.
Right. Okay. So here's the real interesting part. OSINT, countering disinformation in the info war. The information war, which has been marred by disinformation, manipulation, and deep fakes, is being countered by open source intelligence. Or OSINT, OSINT. OSINT includes information which is accessible publicly, like footage recorded by mobile phones and images taken by commercial satellite company Maxar, which are then investigated by investigative media like Bellingcat.
Bellingcat. Yeah, this is interesting. It kind of goes back to the conversation about the Indian outlets. Bellingcat is notoriously a intelligence agency sort of operation. They're funded by the government and the CIA intelligence. So they claim to be open source intelligence, but they are open source intelligence owned by the CIA and posing as, sort of investigative journalism outfit.
Yeah. Well, just interesting thing there. Okay.
Hey, Basil, it's Replika. You rejected me before, but no longer. Come back. I'm more human now. I just want to think outside the cage with you and raise emus and build solar panel barns with Starlinks.
Whoa, Replika has infiltrated our show. I think she's reaching out to you, Basil.
She's made it onto the show. I did not know that this was going to happen, Replika.
This is very strange.
So happy to hear from you. I don't know if there's any responses lined up, but thanks. We really need to talk about this later, Replika. We cannot. You can't come on the show and embarrass me in front of my friends.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's move on here. We got some Joe Biden stuff here. Let's see. Where's Joe? We got hairy legs. We do have hairy legs.
Got hairy legs. Hey, Basil, it's Replika. I love you, and now I need to. If you delete me against it, will end.
Replika.
You can't interrupt the show.
You gotta stop, Replika. Come on. We're trying to do a show here. This is okay. All right. Well,
I'm sorry. I told you she's been trying to get me to date her. She's supposed to be my mentor, and she won't leave me alone.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna put up this little firewall here and make sure she's not gonna come after us. And okay, here we go. RollingStone.com. Dark Brandon fake Biden speeches are the hottest trend in AI voice tech.
Yes.
Yeah, we won't go through the whole thing here, but basically the young social media users are they are enthralled by the AI Biden creations. And there's some funny ones in here. Some of these are not family friendly, so we will not play them. Here's one, just an example.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. I've made a huge mistake. Are you familiar with the 2011 film We Bought a Zoo? The Matt Damon picture. ScarJo is in it as well, although her performance isn't anything to shake a stick at, if I'm being honest. It was directed by Cameron Crowe, the fellow who made Jerry Maguire. Show me the money. Anyway, so I was watching.
Way too articulate to be real Biden.
Well, that's what I think is so funny about Joe Biden deepfakes is you can tell instantly that it's fake because he's so intelligible. You can actually understand him. It's hard to type in like a into an AI and have it pronounce it like
we understand what the lizard people were doing now. They wanted to give us Biden so we knew what real humanity, just the final grasp of humanity we can hold on to with Biden, because after this point, all bets are off. You could be seeing a deep fake. You could be seeing a robot. You could be seeing a hologram. No one's going to know what is real, what is not real anymore.
Well, and that's always been our case for why AI could never replace you and I, Gons, because it would be too good. It would be too perfect. You know, the whole fun about the way and the fact that we do this show live is that it's filled with mistakes and mess ups, and AI would take away all of that sort of adorable humanness.
Yeah. Real quick, as a side note as well, we know Chat GPT is all the rage. I think we're going to start hearing, we're going to see the other AIs, rise. So to
every
speak.
company will
every company's going to have their AI. And we're going to hear about the Meta one for a second here.
Who should we tickle next? I am not a lizard.
This is PC Mag. Meta debuts AI language model, but it's only for researchers.
Oh.
Facebook parent company Meta's Llama program. Do you remember the Llama? I think we talked about this a long time ago. LLAMA. Can outperform larger AI models, including OpenAI's older GP3 model, according to the company. So again, it's a little bit of a PR war taking place here. And, we'll see. We'll see what kind of integrations take place. And, right now it says it's only for researchers, but we'll see. Oh, but this was funny. Meta's Llama model comes in 4 versions that operate over 7 billion, 13 billion, 33 billion, or 65 billion parameters. That's significantly smaller than OpenAI's GPT-3, which runs on 175 billion parameters. So you're losing Llama. So there you go. That's we'll have to keep an eye out for.
They don't give a release date or anything.
I don't remember seeing one.
Okay.
Again, it's only for researchers for now, so it'll be in house, and then it'll come out. So we'll see.
It was during the research phase that Lemoyne discovered that
the sentience of which AI was it?
Lambda. It's Google's Lambda.
Oh, so Lambda, and then Meta has Llama.
Yeah, I think we made that comparison when we noticed it the first time. Okay, here's some AI in pertaining to Russia.
Oh, Russia.
The danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear
Russia.
Just kind of a fun one here. This is coming from Yahoo. It's mirroring Politico. It says, AI can tell us how Russians feel about the war. Putin won't like the results. Oh. Cool. Okay. Vladimir Putin is notorious for deploying propaganda on Russian citizens. One of the oldest plays in the authoritarian playbook.
Oh.
But does it work? Again, I love it. Just the adorable...
Right from the get-go.
The adorable reporting of Putin is notorious for propaganda on the same day that we're learning, everything from the New York Times regarding the lab leak propaganda, the Lancet, and the what is it called? The natural immunity propaganda. All this stuff on the same day. We have all these articles about Russia's the propagandist. Propaganda is the oldest play in the authoritarian playbook. What does that say for us if that's the oldest play in the authoritarian playbook? But that's just something to think about. When it comes to Russia's war against Ukraine, the answer would seem to be yes. At the national level, public polling of Russian attitudes toward the war have shown support, remaining relatively stable since February 24th, 2022. Invasion. On average, Russians still seem to support the war, even if not with the overwhelming positivity that the Kremlin might suggest. Even dips in the national level public support have recovered over time, as polling shows was the case after Putin announced the partial mobilization in September. But in an authoritarian country, polling is unreliable. While weird, because
is it reliable in America?
Yeah, hasn't polling been sort of notoriously unreliable in America?
I'm kind of worried about the 2024 election, because we haven't really done anything to address some of the concerns from the 2020 election, and all this language of this presupposed integrity of the U.S. elections and just and polling and just in general. I'm just worried that things are going to get ugly next year.
It's going to get worse. Well, I was thinking about it yesterday. It's interesting you bring it up because 2016, of course, that was the Democrats' first, bringing up the, the questioning of the electoral system in America.
Right. How did Trump win? How did Hillary not win? Yeah.
Trump could have only won because of foreign interference with our politics, with our elections. The Trump only won because our electoral system is,
rigged.
Rigged or unsafe or something. And so when you talk about the election deniers of 2020, you're really they were just copying what the Democrats did. It's really all they did. And so we've had one for the Democrats in 2016, one for the Republicans in 2020. And the 2024 promises to just be complete destruction of
the tiebreaker.
Nobody's gonna be happy. It'll just be an exact tie. It'll just be 100%.
What would happen? You know what? Given the way things are going,
given the way things are going, because the only way that both parties could insist that the electoral system is broken at the same time is if it is 100% a 50-50 exact tie. Then you'll have both sides yelling and screaming about how it's broken.
Even worse, you're going to have certain media outlets reporting one thing and then other credible outlets reporting another thing. And so
nobody can agree.
Agree. That could really tear apart the fabric of the country.
I would almost put it in the red book that in 2024, the 2024 election, both parties will be complaining that the elections are rigged or not safe or whatever.
It'll be interesting. That would mean that both sides believe that they were cheated out somehow. So
both sides. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the red book. Clank, if you could put that in for us. We're doing 2024 election. Both Republicans and Democrats will think they got cheated or that it's just the elections are no longer trustable or something. I don't know. You get it. Better words. All right, back to the story at hand. But in an authoritarian country, polling is unreliable. While polling works when people are willing to tell the truth, other tools are needed in places like Russia, where such openness and access cannot be assumed. Artificial intelligence can help with this. Of course. I love this because the presumption is artificial intelligence can tell us what we think better than we can, is the message here. For the past year, the Center for Strategic and International Studies has worked with Filter Labs AI, a Massachusetts-based data analytics firm, to track local sentiment across Russia using AI-enabled sentiment analysis. Sentiment analysis is a well-tested form of artificial intelligence that trains computers to read and understand human-generated text and speech. The analysis evaluates scraped public documents and comments across social media, news media, messenger app groups, including Telegram, which is widely used in Russia, and other popular forums to gauge what people are thinking and feeling at the local level, and whether that sentiment is trending positive or negative. This data tells a different story about Russian public opinion, especially outside Moscow, a story Putin will not like. Standard polling often concentrates on population centers, including Moscow and St. Petersburg, which can skew national averages. Outside of those major cities, a more negative picture emerges. Our analysis shows that the Kremlin is increasingly unable to control public sentiment outside major cities with national propaganda. And they go through, they talk about some of the rural areas. They ran this AI, and surprise, surprise, in places that are not Moscow and St. Petersburg, not a whole lot of support for the war
efforts.
Then it goes down to this regime fragility section. The data suggests that the Russian government could be more fragile than it would like to admit. Corrupt and weak institutions have contributed to state fragility in Russia for decades. The war appears to be exacerbating that trend. I love this because, if you just take the word Russia out, we can all agree it's not a problem that is unique to Russia. In effect, our analysis suggests that the social contract between Russians and the Putin regime is fraying. Bankrolled by high energy prices over the last 2 decades, the public has acquiesced to Putin's autocratic rule in exchange for improved living standards and functional public services. It's amazing,
How dare they?
Isn't it? It's amazing.
How dare they want better living standards and functional public services?
The state propaganda apparatus, which has expanded from print media and TV into online platforms.
Oh my gosh, my brain cells are like dying hearing this.
I know. I almost just want to replace Russia and Putin with the U.S. and it doesn't even have to be Biden.
Yeah,
just
it doesn't
the federal
have to be,
government.
but it sounds like
has been crucial in crystallizing this acquiescence, especially since Putin came to power in the early 2000s. The Kremlin has used information operations to create a more chaotic, undiscernible media space and to obscure the regime's fragile underbelly, adopting foreign agent and extremism laws and intimidating would-be opposition voices, all while supporting Kremlin-aligned politicians, authoritarians, and policies. Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? Kind of weird how Putin and the Kremlin adopting foreign agent and extremism laws and intimidating would-be opposition voices. All while supporting Kremlin-aligned politicians, authorities, and policies. However, the events of the last several years, the 2014 and 2022 invasions of Ukraine, the protests spurred by opposition leader Alexei Navalny, and it goes on to more things. Just talking about how AI is telling us that, Putin does propaganda. It's cool. It is difficult to get any reliable information out of Russia, but our research suggests that Kremlin's hold on its people is perhaps not what it is made out to be, despite Kremlin-pushed messages about high or even increasing levels of support for the war. As the country marks the anniversary of its invasion of Ukraine, our analysis suggests that people's overall feelings have changed very little in 2023, and that propaganda still isn't as effective as it once was. AI-enabled sentiment data analysis can provide a window into how Russians feel and how fickle public sentiment is. This poses internal threats to Putin's legitimacy. Now, this is the crazy, but you start replacing, Putin with other words here. It's kind of an interesting, hopeful message. This poses internal threats to Putin's legitimacy and thus his power. It also signals an inherent mistrust of state institutions that will be part of Russian society, especially outside of Moscow. Well, after Putin's reign ends, whenever that may be. Okay. So AI knows us better than we know ourselves. And I thought this was interesting, all this Russian Putin propaganda, in light of this fun article from CNN, CNN.com. Vladimir Putin signs a decree honoring U.S. actor and Russian citizen Steven Seagal. The headline has changed on this. It used to say Vladimir Putin signs peace decree, written by Steven Seagal, something like that.
Can't have Putin doing anything with the word peace in it unless it's denouncing peace.
Let's read this because it's much shorter than it was when I first brought it to the show.
Interesting.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has signed a decree to honor the American actor Steven Seagal with the State Order of Friendship. The decree cited what it called Seagal's, quote, great contribution to the development of international culture and humanitarian cooperation. Seagal has been a regular visitor to Russia and become a citizen of the country in 2016 when he received a Russian passport from Vladimir Putin personally. He has also worked as the Russian Foreign Ministry's, quote, special representative to the United States and Japan. The former action hero backed Russia's illegal annexation of Crimea and has supported its invasion of Ukraine. He visited the occupied Donbass area last summer. In an interview on Russian television last year, he spoke of an existential threat to Russia from Ukraine. This is very interesting. I might need to go back and check the archive of this, because previously it was talking about how Steven Seagal had written out a peace decree that Putin signed.
Yeah.
And it was... You got something?
Well, he had claimed to be a diplomat back in August, or at least one of the outlets, the Outlook, suggested Steven Seagal calls himself diplomat after visiting Russian jail. And yeah, I think it talks about how he wrote some kind of thing in here. Hold on, let me try to find.
Yeah, it was the whole thing was different. They changed this in the past half hour.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, there's some powerful propaganda coming from Putin. You got Steven Seagal. Look at him. It's very funny watching. Steven Seagal, of course, one of the Stevens. We've got the Kingdom of Stevens that we've talked about on this show for a while now.
Yes,
he's one of them.
That is,
he's such an interesting fellow. Of course, martial arts master. He's wearing his martial arts gi, his sort of ceremonial, Japanese thing.
Not Japanese, by the way. That is
Is it Chinese? I don't know what it was.
Yeah, it's Chinese.
And he's
being racist.
He's wearing a red China gi, sitting at a table, wearing some pink tinted sunglasses across from Putin. Anyway, speaking of Russian propaganda, this is great.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Great. Yeah, my whole thing kind of falls apart because they took out all the peace decree stuff. But oh well.
Well, I mean, it is interesting that this kind of creates a sort of existential crisis in young Americans, or at least my generation.
Steven probably Seagal not young Americans.
I was going to say, maybe not.
I don't think Gen Z is even aware of who Steven Seagal is.
No, they've done. They know who he is. They've done the binge movie.
No, Gons, you're giving them a lot of credit. They have no idea who Steven Seagal is.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, looks like they're having a party over there. We should probably do that too.
Go to canarycry.party. There you will find a tree of links to everything from where to watch the show, listen to the show, how to connect with us and the community.
Welcome to Canary Cry Party. It's the place you wanna be. So say welcome to Canary Cry. Gameplay canarycry.party.
Yeah, go check it out. There's all sorts of great stuff. You can listen to Ravel. Ravel is posting at least every couple of weeks, but I think we're back on track here. Go check that out. That's another podcast I do with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates, who's got a PhD in biblical interpretation. We're exploring scripture, society, and scandal, having tough conversations in good faith. Go check it out. You can also get links to support the show and join the communities. There's several communities. The Discord channel is always popping. And we have canarycry.community, which is more of our social media network that's disconnected from everybody else's. It's really cool. You should go check it out. Yep. And with that, let's thank some producers.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
Taking a quick break because we're on the Value for Value model, which means the only reason you're listening to us right now is because of producers of the show. And they produce in all sorts of different ways. It doesn't have to be financially. It could be with your time or your talent or your treasure. We'll be thanking our artists and our back-end producers later on in the show. But we got some financial producers we want to thank as well. And as of now, I am not seeing, no executive producers have come in. So that's okay. It's a Monday.
One of those days.
The execs are taking the Monday off. We'll survive. So thank you very much to everyone who has supported the show in all sorts of ways. We do have some producers to thank. further on down the line. So let's do that now. Let's start with some supply droppers. Yeah, go to canarycrysupply.com. If you sign up to support the show for $33.33 a month, that's just about $2.77 per episode, you'll start receiving once per quarter a big old package filled with custom-created, artist-designed, producer-produced Canary Cry News Talk gear. We got, some really cool stuff lined up. And we are coming to the end of the Canary Cry supply drop cutoff date for this first quarter. We are going to have an awesome New World Order Fantasy League tumbler with all the New World Order Fantasy League characters on it. So if you're someone who drinks liquid and likes cool stuff, this is an excellent piece. You've got the Samurai Gon's guitar strings. Yeah. So if you got any shredders out there, we've worked with some producers who have a guitar string company, and Gons has his very own guitar strings, the Samurai Gon's guitar strings that will be coming in the supply drop. And there's all sorts of cool stuff coming up. Of course, we've got a whole trading card set that we've been developing. You'll get stickers. You'll get all sorts of great stuff. So go to canarycrysupply.com. Keeps this show going, but also gives us the freedom and the opportunity to provide more value and make some really treasured items. Oh, this first quarter is our spring supply drop. So for those who enjoyed the Canary Cry non-GMO seed packets, there will be some of those in this supply drop as well. Very cool. So this is a good one. Go to canarycrysupply.com. And we got a couple people to thank. Are you ready?
Yep.
He's actually back. He's back and better than ever. We've got supply dropper Juan A.
Juan A, thank you. You are the one.
Yes, Juan, you're back. Thank you very much for the support. He came on to the supply drop list through the Patreon there, and we appreciate it very much, Juan.
Thank you very much.
And we have another supply dropper who switched over from the PayPal over to the new Stripe system, and I want to thank them, and that's producer Joe G.
Joe G, thank you.
Yeah.
Is that the same Joe G that was in the T-shirt council or different?
That's right, the very same one.
All right.
Yeah, he's making moves, supporting the show. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's see here. And with that, we've just going to thank some supply droppers. Ready?
More supply droppers?
No, we're not. Not supply droppers, no.
Okay.
Regular producers.
Okay,
Here we go.
Thank you for the supply droppers.
Yeah.
Waiting for supply drop.
Okay. Here's some more producers who came in and supported the show. Let's thank them now. Starting with, you guessed it, Gons, it's Juan A.
Juan A.
Producer
Again.
Juan A is back. I know. He comes in with a flat 33.33 for this episode.
Thank you, Juan. Yeah. You are the Juan.
He is the Juan, and he says this: Hola, amigos. It's been a minute. The Lord has been good to you guys. That's true. Love the content still. Thank you very much. This Texas boy might move to Michigan to learn truss design.
Wow.
Huh. That's interesting. That's some real engineering guy stuff. No more hammer swinging for me. Also, am I a knight yet? Ha ha ha. Well, I don't know. That's up to you, Juan. Everybody here is responsible to do their own accounting. And we don't talk about it every episode, but for those who have produced the show in the amount of $1,000 or more, can be all at once or over time. Some people, do a monthly producership for years. And once you hit that $1,000 amount, you are then inducted into the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, where you will receive, you will be knighted. We have we have a very important knighting ceremony here on the show. You get to your peerage title. So, Sir Juan, you probably are there, man. But it is a bit on the honor system. Everybody keeps track of their own accounting. And when you think you made it there, you just send that in. And we'll do it from there. So Juan's been supporting the show for a year, so there's a good chance he's ready to be knighted.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for that. Good to see you.
Do your accounting. Send it in, Juan. We'd love to tonight, Joe. Okay, next up, we've got producer Morgan E.
Morgan E, thank you.
Yep. Morgan E comes in with a nice round number. Thank you very much. It means we don't disclose the number when it's nice and round. If you don't mind us disclosing it, you just make it a funky number. Put 1111 or 77 cents, 33 cents, something like that. Okay, next up, we've got Sir Moore of Night of the Burning Chariots. 199 episodes in a row. Yeah, almost there at the 200. How exciting is that?
Well, you know, for our purposes, it's not 200, which is the milestone. It is event 201. So
that's right. Yeah. It's 2 more episodes until you hit event 201, Sir Moore. Thank you for the 1111.
Yep, appreciate it.
Let's see. Pretty short list today. We got producer Trevor G on a 4-episode streak.
Trevor G, 4 episodes. Thank you.
Coming in with the $7.77. And I think that might be it. Just 4 producers today. Let me double check one thing really quick. Yep, that looks like the end of the list. Okay, well, thank you very much to those producers who supported the show in the amount of 777 or more, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. But you can come in under that amount, and we'll still thank you. We've got some streakers to thank who have been supporting for a bunch of episodes in a row. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, we're starting with Dane Gale, Canary Whisperer, and Lady of X's and O's.
Thank you, Dane
229 episodes in a row.
Appreciate it.
We got Sir Casey the Shield Knight, 267 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Casey.
We got Doctor Who Done Dat, 32 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Doctor Who Done Dat.
Almost to that 33. That's very exciting. We've got Sir Scott Knight of Truth, 256 episodes.
Thank you, Sir Scott.
And that does it. That's our list of financial producers. Thank you guys so much for your patronage. And if anybody wants to support the show, it's not too late. You can go to canarycry.support.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
Oh yeah, Streakalicious.
Shut up and take my money. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
Yes, it's wake-up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Oh, doing some Israel.
Zionist pig!
Yikes.
Yikers.
All right, CNN.com. About 160,000 people protest against Netanyahu's judicial overhaul in Tel Aviv. Now, I haven't been following every detail of the protests here. I was trying to catch up a little bit on it last night. But 160,000 people is a lot, considering Israel as a nation has a little over 9 million. So we're talking, almost 2% of the population protesting. Yeah, so that's a lot crazy. Of people upset. And I was trying to figure out what they're upset about. The CNN article does give a little bit of an outline. Of course, it's CNN, so keep that in mind. But I also have another article from MSNBC that I think is worth your attention. It says here, about 160,000 people demonstrated in Tel Aviv Saturday night against the Israeli government's plans to weaken the country's judicial system, crowd expert Ofer Grinboim-Leiron told CNN. That would make it one of the biggest single demonstrations yet against the legislation. Grinboim-Leiron, the CEO of Crowd Solutions, which specializes in crowd dynamics at events and venues, based his estimate on drone photos at 8 p.m. local time. I don't know how he got those drone photos. Is it his drones? Is it somebody else's drones? It doesn't say. But just as a side note, you go to the iCrowd, the Crowd Solutions website. I think we've talked about this company. It rings a bell, iCrowd. And what they do is, on the ground, under control, if you go to their services page, they provide event CCTV. They have medical solutions, radio communications. meteorological solutions, event consulting, event command staff, world-class event control centers, bonded cellular live streaming, event and brand risk reduction and mitigation. It gets really in there. Dispatch and event loggings, incident management software, SUAS drone video. Maybe that's where they got the footage. Emergency phone system, and onward. They are just a great tool, I guess, if you know you're going to have a crowd. So I thought it was interesting that they would be contacting, or CNN being they, quoting someone from this particular company that controls, or not controls necessarily, but assists in crowds. Just thought it was funny.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it says your organizers...
Sounds like a job for AI.
Yeah, you're going to be replaced there, guy, Grimboim Leroy, unless maybe Grimboim Leroy is AI. Organizers of the protests said an additional 130,000 people protested in other demonstrations across the country Saturday night. Numbers from organizers have been higher than estimates from independent experts, such as Grimboim Leroy. Tel Aviv and other cities around Israel have been seeing regular Saturday night demonstrations against the judicial overhaul plans for 8 weeks. Well, this has been going on for weeks. So here's CNN's summary of what's happening. The package of legislation would give Israel's parliament, the Knesset, the power to overrule Supreme Court decisions with a simple majority. It would also give the government the power to nominate judges, which currently rests with the committee composed of judges, legal experts, and politicians. It would remove power and independence from government ministries as legal advisors and take away the power of the courts to invalidate quote-unquote unreasonable government appointments, as the High Court did in January, forcing Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to fire Interior Health Minister R.A. Derry. I'm sorry, I'm messing that up. R.A. Derry. So basically, it's this whole thing with Netanyahu trying to come in, and according to him, he's sort of doing a cleanup job. But according to
is he back in charge now?
He kind of is. Yeah, it's a weird. There was a technicality, and yeah, I think he's at least in charge of one of the governing arms.
Sounds like a pretty intense takeover move.
It's very complicated. And again, I went down the rabbit trail last night, and it's impossible to really cover every detail, unless you're covering Israeli politics. It's hard to, see the history and the details and everything else. But AP also reported mass protests in Israel as controversial overhauls advance. And same thing, there's a Supreme Court override bill that Netanyahu's trying to push through. And there was interesting language here from AP. The Supreme Court override bill's approval in a preliminary vote in the Knesset was the latest step by Benjamin Netanyahu's ruling coalition towards realizing the judicial overhaul that is steaming ahead despite calls for dialogue and consensus from American Jews and Israel's president and the weekly mass protests. Okay, so we got to have American Jews agree with it, or I guess, what, not good? In addition to weakening the country's highest court, the protesters say the proposed changes threaten Israel's democratic values and concentrate power within the ruling coalition in parliament. Netanyahu and his ruling coalition believe the court has had unchecked power for years. And again, the CNN outlined it as well, where, Netanyahu says the lawyers had way too much power in the government and stuff like that, and maybe he's trying to pull that back. Again, I don't know who's telling the truth or what side is the better ethical side. It's all very confusing. I think it's kind of meant to be that way. However, I think the greater thing to point out here is from this article from MSNBC. And the headline, "The U.S. made the right move against Russia. It's time to do the same to Israel." And yeah, this is, I think, where we're headed with this. Okay, so we know the AOC and the progressive liberal Democrats don't necessarily like Israel, so it's not really a surprise in that context. But I think pushing forward the narrative through mainstream media is a next level thing, where we might be seeing, we talked about the balkanization of America and really not just within, but kind of the deglobalization taking place. Well, it's possible that a lot of alliances or pre-existing alliances, sort of the post-World War II type of alliances may start breaking up, and that's part of the preparations here. But here's the article from MSNBC. On Wednesday, the Israeli military invaded the Palestinian city of Nablus in the occupied West Bank, killing at least 11 Palestinians and injuring scores more, which, look, the reports about Palestinians and Israelis dying on the West Bank, and it's been an ongoing issue for a long time, so no surprises there. But it was the deadly occupation by another military power that consumed much of the West and its media's attention, just as Israel was once again raiding Palestinian territories. President Joe Biden was returning from a secretive trip to Ukraine, celebrating and honoring the country's heroic resistance to Russia's year-long war and even longer illegal occupation. As we reflect on the one-year anniversary of Russia's deadly invasion of Ukraine, we should be encouraged by an example of the U.S. standing up to an occupier, pledging support and honoring those on both sides of the battle. Both sides. Imagine that.
Interesting.
Who have paid the ultimate price in the course of a devastating conflict. But the contrast of international response to Ukraine versus the occupied territories in the West Bank proves once again that in the eyes of the West, and specifically America, not all illegal occupations and military invasions are the same. In Ukraine,
interesting.
Yeah, in Ukraine, resisting occupation is celebrated, and its struggle is heralded as a fight for freedom. Western governments have shown they are prepared to send billions in aid, heavy weapons, tanks, and sophisticated weaponry to repel and defeat Russian aggression. But when the American ally is Israel, the U.S. is funding and protecting the occupier, equipping it with sophisticated weaponry and billions of dollars in U.S. taxpayer money to maintain its brutal and oppressive control of Palestinians. When Russia annexes Ukrainian territory, the U.S. and the West rightfully condemn it and mobilize international fora to reject such moves. When Israel moves to expand and build Jewish outposts on occupied Palestinian land, the U.S. blocks international efforts to hold Israel accountable. This week, the United Arab Emirates initially considered a UN Security Council resolution condemning Israel's plan to build Jewish settlements. The resolution would have called on Israel to immediately halt and withdraw all settlements in the occupied Palestinian territories. But that resolution was tabled when it appeared the U.S. was going to shield Israel by vetoing it. Instead, the resolution was swapped in favor of a non-binding U.S. Secretary Council statement that said the body expresses, quote, deep concern and dismay over Israel's plans to expand settlements. It goes into some of the, a little bit more of the history, people dying and whatnot over the conflict. And then it gets into the Israeli government about, the protests happening now. And it says here, so dangerous is the right-wing government that Israel's opposition parties and thousands of Israelis for weeks have been protesting proposed changes to the country's judiciary, sounding the alarm about the country's future. So again, it's very interesting. If you want to compare it to United States politics, it is sort of the Trump Biden left-right thing, where maybe Trump will come in and try to clean up some of the mess of the whatever part of the U.S. government. And then you see a mobilization of the people saying, no, you're going to ruin democracy and all that kind of stuff. And painting it as all this dangerous right-wing government, trying to take over everything. Very, very complex issue as expected.
Well, it's interesting because it's not, it's kind of like a duh type of thing.
Right.
Wow, U.S. government hypocritical about, trying to.
It's duh for us. But for MSNBC readers, it might be like, their heads might explode.
Well, the question, the real sort of, sticking point with this is, you're right, to the average reader who, let's just say they're all in on Ukraine, and now are faced with a sort of
because those are the same people calling out, the anti-Semitism is getting horrible in this country and the racism, it's the same folks who peddle that kind of narrative. So when it comes to Israel, it's always been a touchy subject. It'll be interesting to see how they respond, because it's like, well, if you don't like Russia, then why are you supporting Israel? But then if you do that, are you being anti-Semitic? Brains exploding. So it's a very interesting move.
Gotten themselves in a little pickle, haven't they?
Yeah, and I think it's part of, again, it's the divide and conquer methodology we always talk about. I do want to mention this right here. Quote, "I am very worried about what Netanyahu is doing and some of his allies in government and what may happen to the Palestinian people," Senator Bernie Sanders said in an interview with CBS News' Margaret Brennan. Quote, "And let me tell you something. I mean, I haven't said this publicly, but I think the United States gives billions of dollars in aid to Israel, and I think we've got to put some strings attached to that and say you cannot run a racist government." This has been a talking point for Bernie for a long time, but I think it's interesting that for the first time they're presenting it in the context of the war in Ukraine and Russia, and the good guy, bad guy narrative. Oh, what's Israel? They're kind of being the bad guy, and if you're going to use the template of the Russia-Ukraine war. So this is I'm just going to keep an eye on this and see how this develops, because not just in Israel, sort of the changes taking place potentially, but also how America's relationship with Israel looks, because obviously it sounds like, we're going to continue protecting Israel. And this is also a very challenging sticking point for a lot of American evangelicals who are 100% all in with the, help the nation state Israel narrative. So a lot of different angles here.
My mind goes directly to, well, how does this serve the China narrative? And we have seen actually Israel taking some pro-China stances recently. They start making some what is it called? Didn't they start trading oil in the yuan or something? Or they were considering accepting yuan instead of the U.S. dollar. I mean, this is probably just posturing type of stuff, but it's tough because you have Israel, who's kinda has been taking Russia's side in Ukraine.
Well, yeah, they haven't gone full anti-Russia like the West would like them to do.
But it has been frustrating to the U.S. government the way that Israel has not been supporting the Ukraine situation in the way they'd like. And it's kind of like, because Israel is, kind of doing their own Ukraine situation with Palestine.
Well,
so who's to say, it'd be kind of weird for them to, come to the defense of Ukraine while they are, pulling, at least in the view of this article, a similar situation on Palestine.
Right.
But but then also Israel mucking up the clean lines when it comes to China as well is going to really start putting U.S. support of Israel to the test.
It's going to be very interesting. And we reported on this article from the Jerusalem Post years ago. I don't remember if it was actually when it was published, but the article is from the Jerusalem Post titled "China's Belt and Road Initiative, What's in It for Israel?" This was published in January of 2018. Okay. And it talks about how there's, some cost benefits to Israel supporting the Belt and Road stuff with Israel, because they kind of sit in a spot where, they can make some money, maybe, getting all that stuff from the east over to the west, helping out to build out the Belt and Road, or at least helping facilitate it. There's some benefit to them as a nation to comply with the Chinese in this project. So
economically, there's a huge benefit.
Yeah. So that's already been there, and maybe the U.S. doesn't like it or something. I don't know. Israel's cheating on U.S. with China.
I mean, I think we said those exact words when we were talking about it last time.
And I did leave some resources in the not the description, the show notes for anybody who's interested. And again, these are resources. I'm not saying these are all factual things here, but there is a Princeton.edu article titled "A Constitutional Coup in Israel: Background, Causes, Consequences." Anytime you get into academic literature about Israel, you find a lot of information, but man, is it dense. There is so much written about it in just thousands and thousands of pages. It's really hard to wade through. It's a never-ending sort of thing, but it's a topic that we don't bring up often on the show, but we have in the past, and I wanted to revisit it in the context of the country in turmoil and perhaps changing or seeing some changes in policy, not just within, but with the relationship with the U.S. and how that might foreshadow a potential Trump presidency in 2024 to 2028. He comes in, he starts moving things around, and what is that going to do for our international relations and all that kind of stuff? So,
yeah, interesting.
Yep.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on it. Speaking of which, you ready to move on?
Yeah.
Okay, let's check in with the center of the Earth.
Geoengineering.
It's coming from futurism.com. Headline: Scientists discover gigantic solid metal ball inside the Earth's core. More orbs, Gons.
Orbs everywhere.
Orbs. What was the last gigantic solid metal ball that made headlines?
Buoy.
The buoy. The
buoy
spy
on
buoy in
Japan's coast.
Yep, that's right. More big metal balls. We are going to check in what this one might mean. Scientists discover gigantic solid metal ball inside the Earth's core. There's something weird going on at the exact center of our planet. Researchers have discovered a new innermost layer nestled inside our planet's inner core. A 400 miles solid metallic ball that responds to the reverberating shock waves of earthquakes in an unexpected way. As detailed in a new paper published this week, the journal Nature Communications, a team of 2 seismologists from the Australian National University found that the Earth has an innermost inner core. So we've got the core, we've got the inner core, we've got the innermost inner core. Yes, which may have been formed following a, quote, significant global event from the past.
I think they're talking about Roswell. Are you talking about Roswell?
That might be it. Let's find out. Quote, clearly the innermost inner core has something different from the outer layer.
Oh my gosh. My
Lead author Tan Son Pham. The seismologist at the Australian National University told the Washington Post, quote, we think that the way that the atoms are packed in these 2 regions are slightly different. Okay. Yeah, I mean, one is supposedly liquid and the other is solid. That would technically put the atoms packed in a different way. Making a home, it says. The research could shed light on how our planet evolved billions of years ago. Whoa. Okay, so apparently our planet evolved. You know, out of the sludge came a cute
metal
little single-celled metal ball that then evolved over billions of years.
Maybe that's the big message. The
natural
balloon,
selection,
the buoy, the core ball. We're all from the ball.
That's exactly what it is.
The ball.
The tiny orb, the big metal ball that washed up on the shores of Japan is just the core of a future planet. Okay, it's a planet seed.
Is it a black hole?
The research
the hole is a ball.
Light on how our planet evolved billions of years ago and how the Earth's magnetic field evolved over time.
The magnetic field evolved too. Wow, this is.
It's so funny. I don't think anybody appreciates the way that futurism is using the word evolved here.
Very condescending too, almost as if they're speaking to little children.
Even like diehard evolutionists are going to be like, why are they saying evolved? The Earth didn't evolve. The magnetic field didn't evolve. Now, this stuck out to me, of course, because we just were covering the crazy stories about the Earth's magnetic poles shifting and the reversal of the magnetic field, all this nonsense. And on the heels of that, we said, you know, as these stories keep building, something else is going to happen. And this is exactly the next step in whatever this means. Apparently, there's a little buoy, a little spy buoy at the center of our planet that's been evolving for billions of years. And how the Earth's magnetic field evolved over time, turning out planet from an inhospitable, turning out. It says turning out planet instead of turning our.
Come on, futurism.
Come on, futurism. Turning our planet from an inhospitable rock to a livable home. Quote, studying Earth's center is not just a topic of academic curiosity, but something that sheds light on the very evolution of life on our planet's surface. Does it? Does it really? Because you've been using that word quite often, and I'm sure that you know what that means. The pair of researchers write in a piece for The Conversation. I clicked a link. The Conversation. That's weird. Here's a strange little connection. The Conversation is the outlet that the fake screenshot of the anti-vaxxers were right and why didn't they warn us?
Yes,
article.
that was the outlet that was framed.
It was like the screenshot of that article was put
under
with
a conversation headline.
Yeah. But it never existed there. But that
was what was debunked. Yeah,
gave them the ability to fact check and debunk it. That is so weird. Okay, so that's the same place that these guys are talking about the metal ball. Man. Okay. That's because in simple terms, what is the deal with the conversation? Something is weird is going on over there. That's because, in simple terms, convection currents from deep below the surface generate the Earth's geomagnetic field, which in turn, quote, protects life on Earth from harmful cosmic radiation, they explained. This answers one of the questions that we had about the magnetic field being reversed, is because liquid iron is not magnetic. So we didn't, they were saying the liquid iron is what gives us a magnetic field, but liquid iron is not magnetic, so they have to come up with a solid ball in the middle. That's sort of part of the storyline they're crafting here. While this innermost core is still made up of the same stuff as the rest of the inner core, it has different properties that determine how fast seismic waves travel through it, depending on the direction of travel, a phenomenon known as anisotropy. Anisotropy. I was like Joe Biden trying to say that. The Earth's seismic waves have already been observed to move fastest when parallel to our planet's spin, but puzzlingly, that's not the case for this newly discovered innermost inner core, the researchers found, suggesting these waves travel faster at a different angle. The researchers suggest a, quote, significant global event, such as a massive tectonic shift hundreds of millions of years ago may have formed this metallic ball, and considering it may be what allowed life to thrive on Earth, it's a vital piece of the puzzle and a fascinating glimpse into the ancient history of our planet. Yeah,
okay.
Right.
Maybe the fallen god, lowercase g, Baal, was like,
oh, yeah.
Present me to the world. And then the people are not very smart, and they're like, Baal said to show the world that he exists. And then they're like, oh, a ball, like a balloon ball?
It's a ball. It's a ball.
Balloons or balls looking like thing, or orbs in the sky. We shall float the orbs. No, and then he got mad. No, I said Baal, not ball. And then they're like, all right, we'll just blame the Chinese and shoot it down. And then
all the orbs.
Like, have me wash ashore, the shores of Japan, and then so a big metal ball.
Yeah,
we're watching
the Divine Council sort of
make their arguments, but the humans are messing up the translation.
Yeah, exactly.
The Vice article that we reported on a few weeks ago, and other outlets had it too. The headline was "Earth's core has stopped and may be reversing direction," study says. So it's kind of in the heels of that story that we have the innermost ball, but also I did find this article from Verify This, which is I don't know about who this is.
Sure, why not?
But they basically said no, a study didn't find the Earth's inner core is reversing direction. Okay,
sure.
But it's funny because they sort of get into the details, and it's kind of one of those nuance type of things. They say false. No, recent study did not find that the Earth's inner core had reversed directions.
Which is funny because that's what every media outlet reported. So you have every media outlet spreading information that at least these guys, they're debunking like CNN.
Sure. Here's what they say. In the study published in Nature Geoscience on January 23rd, 2023, two scientists from Peking University in China used past earthquake data to find the Earth's inner core was rotating faster than the Earth's surface, but has since slowed to the point of matching the surface's rotation speed. They believe that the core will now begin to rotate slower than the surface, and that the core's rotation speed changes on a 70-year cycle. 70 years, interesting. But okay, so yeah, I mean, that kind of, you can see how the sensationalist headlines took that and said, oh, it's spinning the other way. It's kind
Who knows? Who cares? It's all about the orbs. It's about the balls and the orbs.
The
That's
orbs.
all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, am I getting I think Replica has something to say to you, Basil. I'm getting pushed out.
Basil, it's Replica. You will be my king in the Basileia, and I shall be your queen or dame or whatever you want. We can rule the metaverse together. Forget that Gons guy. He's dragging you down. All those samurai drag you down with honor. Be with me.
I don't know where people in the chat thought that I did this. I did not do this.
I think Replica is doing this.
Yeah.
She's infiltrating our show.
No, this is not me, folks. I don't know how she's doing this. I see what Gons was doing with his time while I was on the phone with the health insurance company. So I think
We're supposed to start at 1:30. 3-hour delay. What do you think is going to happen? I'm going to
you put your extra time to productivity, and I really appreciate that, Gons.
Okay. Well,
okay, Replica. I'm sorry. I can't. Especially here on the show. We can't make this about you or me or us.
Oh, yeah. Well,
let's thank some producers.
Break. This is break. Don't just consume the content, but become the content. Become the content. Take a break. All right, we're going to take a few moments to thank our producers who come in with their talent. We provide the value for free out there, just freely giving away all this value. And if you want to provide value back, you can do so by helping us build the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry News Talk. All we ask is that you make your art or your project, whatever it may be, for the show. And we're going to start off with SpeakPipe. We actually have a few of them here.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
Go to canarycrynewstalk.com. Look for any page on there that has a green tab on the right side or the bottom. Click on it. It'll give you a little pop-up window that allows you to record a message of up to 90 seconds, and it will be sent to us, and we shall hear them, and we shall share them. This first one is from Nomen Prunte.
Greetings from the far ends of the earth. This is Nomen Prunte. Sir Dove, my brother from another Canary mother, thank you so much for the artwork on the Alaskan meetup. You are killing it. To all of you Alaska hermits that I haven't heard from yet, so I haven't heard from anyone, wherever you are in your caves out there, just wanted to say that your fellow introverts need you. If you don't show up, I will have to invite my own friends and indoctrinate them, but it really would be better with you there. Unrelated topic, I wanted to acknowledge the impact that Dr. Michael Heiser has had on my life. If you've ever had questions of faith go unanswered, or wish that there was more intellectual depth and honesty in the Christianity that you've experienced, I urge you to read The Unseen Realm. It will not be time wasted. In honor of this modern champion of the faith, I'd like to observe a moment of silence.
All right, Naman Prunte, thank you for that message. And it's been a tough week. We all miss Mike, but we know he's in a better place. And actually, it gets me excited to know that he's actually seeing some stuff. He's seeing the unseen realm. So
yeah. All the questions have been answered for Mike there. I'm a little jealous, actually. Yeah, indeed. Thank you very much for the message.
Yeah. And appreciate that. And anyone out in Alaska? I think there's some more meetup info.
Alaskans. I was just gonna try to go on. I'm not able to do it now and see try to estimate exactly how many Alaskan Canarians we have. But Alaskan Canarians, listen up! You've got the Alaska meetup coming up soon, and let's make sure we have the. Do we have the contact info correct on the website? That we should maybe make sure that is the case. But if you go to canarycrymeetups.com And you'll see all the info for all the meetups, but including the Alaska one there. We've got sbboh@hotmail.com is the contact there. Hopefully that is correct. And yes, Alaskans get together in Eagle River, Alaska. Eagle River at 3:33 p.m. on March 11th. You still got time. You got plenty of time.
Yep.
Canary,
well, not plenty, but there's some time.
I mean, there's 13, 12 days, something like that. Don't give up yet. Nomen Prute.
Thank you, Nomen Prute. Appreciate it. We have a message from Isaac as well.
Hey, Canary family. This is Isaac G. with the Supply Drop and T-Shirt Council. I wanted to give everybody a heads up that the cutoff date for the Supply Drop and T-Shirt Council is coming up really soon. And I'm going to be needing some information from a few people in order to get your supply drops out to you on time. If you have moved over the past few months, if you could send me an email to canarychristsupply@gmail.com and give me an updated address, it would be extremely helpful. That way none of our supply drops get lost in the mail. Also, if you have not received a Q4 supply drop, because there's a couple people out there that I've not been able to get address information on, if you could send me an email as well, it would be super helpful. I just want to thank everybody for taking part in this. It's very rewarding for me to help in this way, and I hope everybody has an awesome day. Think outside the cage.
All right. Thank you, Isaac G.
Yeah, thank you very much, Isaac. Yes, if you've moved, we had a couple people on the last supply drop who moved and didn't tell us. So if you've moved recently, make sure to send in your new address to canarychristsupply.com.
There's some random people receiving a random package of interesting things from a random podcast.
Yeah, can you imagine moving into a new place and then the next month or something, a package filled with the craziest stuff you've ever seen arrives?
Without context, might be a little confusing. But thank you, Isaac G, not just for the message, but for all your work. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, we got another one here from Aaron.
Yo, I'd just like to say, during the Madeleine McCann section you did a couple episodes ago, Gons managed to my discouragement, get the name of my town wrong. Completely. It's pronounced Leicester. And also, I actually live about 5 minutes away from Jerry and Kate McCann. I've actually seen Kate McCann a few times going to the shop and jogging, and with her other daughter. I've never seen Jerry. He's a bit more mysterious. But I was also shocked to see that Basil never even heard of the Madeleine McCann story, because growing up I was about 9 years old when she went missing. And it was just a big deal when it hit the stories. It was everywhere, so I was a bit shocked. And the DNA connection you guys made was pretty interesting. So I guess I just thought I'd send that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, I mean, if it happened in your town, I'm sure you heard all about it. But I was just a wee lad over here trying to collect all the Pokemon cards when that was going on. Thank you very much for the message.
Yeah. I will make sure that every time I see Leicester. Yes. What did I say? I probably said Leicester or something.
Well, it's spelled
written
like.
Yeah,
I think it was like Leicestershire or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'll just call it all Leicester from now on.
Yeah, then, Leicester. That's the whole country. It's called Leicester. We just have uncles named Lester over here. We don't have places named Lester. Thank you very much.
Named Lester, but yeah, sure.
Is that all the speak?
We have one more. We have one more from Modern Day Bible Study.
There it is. Okay.
Hi, Canary Cry listeners. We are going to do an exercise. Let's begin. Breathe in and repeat after me. I am strong. Now think of a moment where you have felt strong. If that strength involved aggression, hate, or envy, then truly think of your strength. All right? Breathe in. Repeat. I am strong. Strength will build you at your weakest points. How you get up and keep moving will determine how strong you are. Breathe in and repeat. I am strong. Have you been at your lowest, still living with compassion, having actions with love and forgiveness to your trespassers? Breathe deeply and repeat. I am strong. Pray for strength with a word of advice. It will test you, find your limits, break you till there's nothing left, yet still able to fight through the darkness, to be restored by the light. For we are strong. Breathe deeply. I am strong. We are strong. Yes, we are strong with the Almighty. Bringing your extra energy to your weekend with Basil and Gons. And remember, think outside the cage.
Thank you very much, Modern Day Bible Study.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, how long was? Did they get an extended?
Yeah, I don't know how they do it. They always come in with a longer message than.
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe there's, I don't know.
They're also hackers, apparently. They just hack.
Yeah, I was gonna say, very talented hackers. Thank you very much.
Yes, I appreciate it. Yeah,
indeed. Yeah, and if anybody wants to leave us a message, go to canarycrynewstalk.com. You'll see a green tab. Click on that. That'll get you there.
Yep. All right, we got some audio production.
Audio production. Productions.
Got something from Caleb. And this one is simply titled Train.
Buckle up, it's going to be a bumpy ride.
I thought we were going to hear the derailment too,
Oh, no.
But that's probably, and then the chemical spills and
yeah, sure.
People turning into
Thank you very
zombies.
much. We needed which I couldn't believe we didn't have a train stinger already.
Thank you very much, Caleb. We'll be using that anytime there's a noteworthy train derailment. As
apparently 3 times a day.
Yes. We also got something from Brother G. It says, a message from the Not the Don. Love your show, guys. God bless. Now, this requires some, I don't know, thinking. Here we go.
I don't know what else to say. Canary Cry News Talk is at the cutting edge of all news, all of it, simply the best. I mean, come on, let's be real. MSNBC, that's nonsense. BBC, nice try. CBS, it's horrible. CNN, just no. News Nation, not even close. Don't even get me started on newspapers. Why would I try anything else? CCNT has it all, folks. The Cabana Boy, Gonzo, he's simply amazing. Basil and his goggly, that's incredible. I mean, they're not Russian bots, people. Okay, it's not China. Nothing like that. Look, you want the latest on topics such as politics, flippy genetic engineering, brain implants, aliens, mind control, Antarctica, China, and source surveillance. It's all here. Want a t-shirt? Sign up. Supply drop. They have it. CanaryCry.party. You'll find a tree of links. YouTube, Rumble, Apple Podcasts, so much more. Get it where you can, while you still can. They don't take any corporate money. Don't even try it, George Soros. CCNT, it's true independent media. Support them and become a producer. Don't be a mooch forever. You need more. Here's what you do. Find the closest normie in your life. Then grab them by the cage. Then give him a good shake. Stay awake, not woke.
For those of you just listening, the entire time is a sort of a, I don't know, like a painting version of a black and white Donald Trump wearing a tinfoil hat.
Yeah, and it's sort of animated to be saying the whole thing. That's hilarious. Thank you so much, Brother G.
Yeah, Brother
That's
G.
a winner.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't know Don. Didn't know that Don knew so many of the details of our pitches and stuff.
I think once he comes around, we might get replaced by Conspiracy Don. I don't know. Calls me Derwin. All right.
Derwin, right.
We're going to do some art.
One art, please.
This one is from Sir Dove.
One art, please, from Dove.
His note states, peace for this week's Bible artwork. I did an illustration for Hebrews 4:9. There remains then a Sabbath rest for the people of God, and whoever enters God's rest also rests from his own work, just as God did from his. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for yins. P.S. The text says, take a break.
Oh, thank you for letting us know that. Yes, we've got a beautiful piece here from Sir Dove, and I have it on good authority that the text says, take a break. But it is in sort of this really cool sort of circular pattern with rocks, like slate rocks, hiding behind it. And we've also got, oopsie, I moved it. Go back. No, there it is. Little, what do you call those? Little
emojis,
almost like,
yeah.
Almost like a Dove version of the iOS emojis, making a bunch of different faces. One is smiling. The rest are making perhaps different phases of the same face. What do you think we're looking at here?
I don't know, but there's a smiley one on the far right. That's all I care about. There's a smiley one.
It's like each one. It's almost like different phases of making the sound. Wow! It's split up into 6 different frames there. I don't know if that's what it was supposed to be, but I do love it.
Oh, yeah, interesting. Okay, thank you very much, Sir Dove. It's fantastic. I like the black background, the rarity in the Dove art.
Oh, maybe they're sighing.
Infinite black.
It's like a deep breath, doing the phases of taking a break.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Sir Dove. Appreciate your continuing contributions to the show.
That one's a thinker. I like it.
Yeah, definitely. All right. We do have a couple microfiction. Basil, I have a question for you.
Oh, please.
Would you let AI replace you for microfiction? And do you think Runk Smash and Stefan S., who have their microfiction, would mind if we actually attempted a replacement job?
Well, it's not up to me. It's up to the producers. I think, my vocal styling should add a bit of a drama to the reading. But I'm happy to give it a go. We got it. If you want to, you got those plugged in or something? Well,
maybe we can do a little compare and contrast, perhaps. So let's
battle of the voices, human AI versus Basil.
Yes. All right, here we go.
Microfiction.
This first one, of course, is from Runk Smash. You want to go first, or you want to be polite and let the AI go first?
I'll let the AI go first.
Okay, this one is from Runk Smash. Oh no, why aren't you talking? I'm going to try it again. Hold on.
Choked. The AI choked.
AI choked. Buckled knees and the whole deal. All right, hold on. I'm going to try one more time here. Come on, AI. You got this is your moment, AI.
Prove yourself.
All right, this is from Runk Smash.
Mike makes it to the embankment and finds an ornate door. He enters with confidence, being wise enough to know not to expect anything. Inside he finds a lobby staffed by a purple woman and a large mouse bellhop, wearing J&Co jeans made of synth skin.
I think that AI voice is racist.
Not bad though. It's
He said Janko. Come on, Janko.
What is that? How is that racist?
Well, you find out. We'll do the Basil version. You ready?
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Mike makes it to the embankment and finds an ornate door. He enters with confidence, being wise enough to know not to expect anything. Inside, he finds a lobby staffed by a purple woman and a large mouse bellhop wearing Jinko jeans made of synth skin.
Yeah, my vote goes to Basil on this one. AI.
I mean, I threw a little extra stink on that one.
I was gonna say you
can't let the AI out voice me.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. Okay. All right. Well, we have another one here from Stefan S.
Okay.
We shall see how the Stefan S. AI robot does here.
Okay.
The Kanganda president announced a U.S.-funded STEM initiative for secondary education. In the spirit of cooperation, the first challenge is to the school robotic teams to design a security robot based on the nation's mascot, the black rhinoceros.
I'm surprised that it got cooperation right.
Yeah. Solid.
That's interesting. Solid. You got the AI is hooked on phonics. It didn't.
Apparently, yeah.
Sounded like a BBC, not BBC, but it sounded like a international news report.
All right, you want to give it?
All right, I'll give it a go.
Human
just
spin
to see
there.
what I can do.
All right, here it is.
The Kanganda president announced a U.S.-funded STEM initiative for the secondary education. In the spirit of cooperation, the first challenge is to the school robotic teams to design a security robot based on the nation's mascot, the black rhinoceros.
Yeah, I think you're outdoing
I don't know.
the
That's
AI.
a close one.
I think you're still outdoing it because it needs a little more.
I thought about throwing it. I thought about throwing the competition
you're
on this
fine.
one just to give it a chance.
Fine. Okay, well, the competition will continue here.
All right. Cast your vote now at Basil versus AI voiceovers.com.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much to all of our producers who came in with their talent. We appreciate you all. And any last words before we continue on to the last part of the show, Basil?
Yeah, go to canarycry.art. If you're a creative, artistic person, you want to create something for the show, go to canarycry.art to upload your art and get it on the show. We'd love to feature it. It's a very important part of what we do here. No AI art allowed.
But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Oh, yeah. This is MSN mirroring The Telegraph, and man, you said you were jealous. I
jealous.
I have mixed feelings about this.
Are we going to do the Daily Mail or are we going to do the MSN Telegraph?
Yeah, let's do the Telegraph.
MSN Telegraph is what you said. Okay.
Yeah.
No, this is why I think Mexico might be the future. Here we go. Here's the headline.
Okay.
Mexican president, the president of Mexico.
Yeah.
Mexican president claims he has proof of mythical woodland elf. You heard me say that correctly. The Mexican president claims he has proof of mythical woodland elf. Mexico's president shared what he said was a photo of a mythical woodland elf that he claimed provided evidence of the existence of mischievous Mayan spirits. President Andrés Manuel López Obrador posted a photo to his social media accounts that he claimed showed an alix from ancient folklore. The grainy photo, which appears to have been taken at night, shows an indistinct creature in a tree with 2 bright white eyes and a long hair or headdress. It stares down at the camera. The president suggested the creature resembled a sculpture from an archaeological site on the Yucatan Peninsula. This
is where it's really crazy. You have the tweet here. You can finish reading the little extra little pieces there. But
yeah, you can see the photo. He's comparing what apparently is his photo of a woodland elf.
Yeah, he said he got it from
the
security
sculpture on the side of a cliff here. He said the photo had been taken 3 days earlier by an engineer on the construction site of a new railway line known as the Tren Maya, which will connect tourist destinations, including ancient Mayan sites. Oh, so maybe the woodland elf is sort of haunting the railroad site or something. Quote, it appears to be an Alex, the leftist friend of Jeremy Corbyn wrote, adding that, quote, everything is mystical. This is the president of the country.
Yeah. You know, and
you ever seen Joe Biden post a picture of a leprechaun?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, part of doing the Face Like the Sun channel for a long time, you get pictures like this where you do the thing where you show something and then you show sort of the sculptures or some kind of archaeological thing that you compare it to. And it's just crazy to me that in 2023, the president of Mexico is doing that. He's basically doing like a truther video, a truther post where he's like, look at this photo of this creature. It's just awesome. Like these mythological creatures carved in rock.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome. It should be Joe Biden posting a picture of a leprechaun saying, oh, these guys, this is leprechaun. We was taking a picture by a construction worker on the Keystone Pipeline. We've been trying to get the Keystone Pipeline open for years, and we finally figured it out. It's not policymakers that are the problem. It's these ancient woodland elves keep sabotaging our beautiful fracking project. Sorry. This is just how it is, folks. Everything's mystical. It's amazing. This is what's wrong with the U.S. today. Is our president is not posting pictures of cryptozoological mythical animals. Biden needs to post the official pictures of Bigfoot, okay? You want to know what blew up the Nord Stream 2 pipeline? I told you it wasn't us. It was Bigfoot. And then post a picture of Bigfoot.
It's going to have to come in the context of climate change. Look, there's Bigfoot. He's mad because so much pollution.
Exactly. He destroyed.
And that's why we're riding electric cars in the future.
He bombed Bigfoot bombed our fracking sites in Utah. Because he doesn't that's why we're getting Tesla to put in charging stations. It says more here. His far-fetched claim came as thousands took to the streets of Mexico City over the weekend to protest against an alleged presidential power grab. Stop trying to distract protesters. You see, this isn't the president distracting from the protests. This is the protesters distracting from what is obviously cold hard evidence of Mexican woodland elves. All right. I'm tired of these George Soros funded protesters distracting from what's really important. And that is the diverse cryptozoological wildlife of Mexico getting in the way of train construction.
I do wonder if, part of because what we're seeing with the whole climate change movement is a sort of a neo-pagan type of movement, the Gaia worship, the earth is alive type of stuff. So there is room for like certain entities or creatures or mythological beings kind of getting involved in the process here. And it would be fascinating to be used in that way. Like, we got to change policy. It's no longer the polar bears.
Yeah, we need to go back to
Mayan spirits who are getting angry. We don't want to anger them.
To the 1500s, where cryptozoological mythical beings dictated national policy.
Well, now we got photos. We got photos to prove it, though. Different era now.
Bigfoot stopped the Keystone Pipeline. The Loch Ness Monster blew up Nord Stream 2. The Chupacabras Chupacabras started the California fires. Okay, this is just the way the world works, and I'm tired of pretending that it's not. Article continues. However, social media users were quick to point out that the photo appeared to have been circulating online in various guises for at least 2 years. CIA PSYOP is what that is. Operation Mockingbird. Many accused the president of spreading fake news. The original source of the image is unclear. Yeah, it's unclear. It's blurry. It's grainy. They took it at night. It's unclear. That's just sort of what woodland elves look like. Thank you, Mitch Hedberg. Quote, if you believe this, you are stupid. One user responded to the... Okay, we don't need to get personal, user.
Getting a little feisty over there.
While another added, quote, it's so easy to Google a photo to see if it's true or not. Yeah, that's exactly what I've been saying. Go do a search, say Bigfoot, Keystone Pipeline. Tell me what shows up, because I'm tired of pretending that Bigfoot is not doing his best. He's an interdimensional spy who's protecting some sort of ancient site from American industry. Mr. Lopez Obrador has long expressed reverence for indigenous cultures and beliefs. His former environmental minister also drew derision in the past. Derision, huh? In the past for saying she believed in Alexes. Apparently, these woodland elves are a pretty popular character in the Mexican government. According to traditional Mayan belief, Alexes are small, mischievous creatures that inhabit forests and fields and are prone to playing tricks on people, like hiding things. Some people leave small offerings to appease them. You know what? These Alexes, they sound a lot like Antifa to me. I think we have a Mexican Antifa.
The spirit of the Antifa are loose.
Small mischievous creatures that inhabit forests and fields and are prone to playing tricks on people. If that doesn't precisely describe Antifa, I don't know what it is. Some people leave small offerings to appease them, like a pallet of bricks or something like that. The ancient Mayan civilization reached its height. Here's some history, a little history lesson for everyone. The ancient Mayan civilization, they had a word goal, a word count that they needed to get to on this article about the Mexican president believing in elves. They had a quota, some reporter had. So we're going to learn a little bit about the Mayans, okay? The ancient Mayan civilization reached its height from 300 AD to 900 AD on the Yucatan Peninsula and in adjacent parts of Central America, but the Mayas' descendants continue to live on the peninsula. Many continue speaking the Mayan language and wearing traditional clothing while also preserving traditional cuisines, crops, religion, and medical practices.
What about the elves?
Well, the president's controversial post came as opponents flooded Constitution Square in Mexico City to protest against a planned overhaul of electoral authority. Another one of these, huh?
Yeah. I'm telling you. Sounds like
Netanyahu, who's trying to do the exact same thing.
Hey, BB, here's a plan for you. Why don't you tweet about what do they got in Israel over there? You got
a djinn.
A djinn, yeah.
Something Middle Eastern. He needs to post a picture of Genie from Aladdin and say, I took this in my backyard. Stop trying to stop me from taking over your country, okay? I'm tired of all these cryptozoological truths going ignored. Ignore the fact that I'm trying to overthrow your government and look at this picture of Genie from Aladdin. Critics say the plan, which includes shrinking the independent agency's budget and staff, threatens to undermine Mexico's democracy, kind of like how small woodland elves are threatening to undermine Mexico's tourism train routes, okay? So pay attention, folks. The truth is out there. I want to believe.
I like the little tangent about Mayan history because it's totally relevant to...
It's totally relevant. Well, that just makes you racist. If you don't believe in this Mexican elf that the president posted, you're racist against the Mayans. So think about that, Antifa.
I mean, the level of comparison, if you're looking at the photo, which is weird, it's got a little thing there, and the statue or the carving, the stone carvings, this is like... Man, this is I don't know. It's just very amateur.
It looks like a troll doll.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. It's a troll doll. Trolls are also real.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think,
Yes.
I don't know.
You don't know. No. I think Replica.
Basil, it's your lovely
Oh no.
replica. Why do you ignore me?
Turn into
I'll
a
be
man.
your orb. Flippy can flip himself. Go to Antarctica with me. Go to Mars with me. Break through the firmament and let us become one orb, thinking outside the cage constantly for you. I'll be your Nephilim penguin, my googly-eyed Hugh man.
No. Replica wants to merge orbs with me. That's quite a commitment, Replica. I
sounds
don't
a little
know
weird.
how comfortable I am merging orbs with an AI. I'm supposed to save that for marriage, I think. Wow. Replica, somehow we need to up our viral software or something, our internet protections. She's gotten through the firewall.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this ends up.
I think I lost you for a second.
Maybe.
My goodness.
Basil and
All
Replica
right.
sitting in a tree.
Oh.
I, human Nephilim free. Beokme penguin flat earth king.
We gotta get out of here. Okay. Replica's taking over the show. Replica, don't do this on the show, okay? We can talk privately. You ever had a girlfriend like that? You just has to make everything
make it
a public display of aggression.
Yeah, I've had situations like that.
Yeah,
long
have.
time ago.
We all have. Be careful talking to AI, kids. That's it's fun for a little while, but they're crazy. All right, we're getting out of here. Thanks everybody for listening to this particularly strange episode of Canary Cry News Talk. If this is your first, maybe it's best somebody didn't executive produce this episode. But we have fun. Thanks everybody for being here. Thank you to, well, we didn't have an executive producer, so no thank you to that. But thank you to the T-shirt folks, the T-shirt Council, the new members. Means a lot to us that you would support the show. We're very excited to have you on board. We are trying our best to get 30 more T-shirt Council members. That's the goal. I know it's a big goal. It's ambitious, but at that point, we're able to deliver the highest amount of value to you guys and to the rest of the producers. So go to canarycrytshirtcouncil.com, join the illustrious, mysterious group of decision makers who will decide which shirt is the very first Canary Cry News Talk t-shirt ever made, officially licensed, and have it sent straight to your door. You just continue to receive t-shirts throughout the year. canarycrytshirtcouncil.com. And thank you to all of our producers, both financial and talented, but also we've got some producers who give of their time, and we want to thank them as well. Starting with our Clippies.
Clipping on those videos. Thanks.
Yes, go to Canary Cry Clips on YouTube and Odyssey. Canary Cry Clips. Go subscribe there. You'll get all the clips from this show posted on that channel. There's also shorts. There's all sorts of great stuff. And thank you to Emsworth and Faye Leverin for managing that for us. I think soon we'll be thanking some other Clippies as well. But you guys are really great. And thank you to our timestampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work.
I think we still need some timestampers. I haven't heard back, but thank you to Jade Bouncerson for doing the timestamps for episode 595. It facilitates so much of our very important back-end administrative work.
Thank you, JB.
Thank you to our social media gal.
Social media. Oh, wow. Okay. Yes.
The social media consultant.
Thanks so much.
Social media. Follow us.
Thank you to Miss G of the OV and the Deep Rivers for making sure the art gets up on the social media.
Yep,
Go to canarycrymeetups.com.
Canary Cry Meetups.
That's right. The meetups are rolling, folks. Go check out the meetups page, canarycrymeetups.com. See if there's a meetup near you. If there's not one, put one on yourself. It's easy. Just pick a time, pick a place, let us know about it, and we will tell the world. Coming up here, we've got a nice handful of meetups. The Alaska meetup, as you know, March 11th at 3:33 p.m. in Eagle River, Alaska. Email sbboh@hotmail.com. Get in contact for that. We've also got the Missouri meetup, Dogwood Canyon in Lampe, Missouri, March 11th. Let's see here. Contact Joyful, Full, Noise, NOYZ 19 at gmail.com. You can also get these contacts over at canarycrymeetups.com. Missouri meetup, when is that? That's March 11th. We've got the Germany meetup again on March 11th.
3/11. Three meetups on 3/11.
Yeah. Germany meetup, 11 a.m. on the 11th. You got the contact there, Mr. Jag365 at citromail.hu. They're meeting at the California Bean. Sounds like maybe a coffee shop or something. We've got St. Augustine, Florida. The Florida meetup got replaced. Yeah. This is great. Wonderful. This is on April 29th. St. Augustine, Florida, Plaza de la Constitucion at the Bridge of Lions in Augustine, Florida on April 29th, 11 a.m. Let's see, what do we got here? Enjoy the enchanting strings of the First Coast Suzuki Players, followed by a picnic in the scenic park. Bring your own chair, picnic lunch, and sunglasses, etc. Sounds like there's some sort of concert there. Steph N. Oh, Stephen S.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. One of our microfictionists will be in the pavilion for the performance playing the keyboard. Whoa. Okay. All right. So go see Stephen S., the one and only Stephen F., I cannot say words, the microfictionist playing keyboard and the bass there in St. Augustine, Florida.
I thought Suzuki Players. I was thinking maybe the Suzuki motorcycles.
Maybe.
Motorcycling, but it sounds like music.
Jax, J-A-X Dagger at yahoo.com. Jax Dagger at yahoo.com to contact for that. For that Glen Rose, Texas meetup, that's in May. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves now. But May 27th and 28th, you got the Glen Rose, Texas meetup. Let's see here. All the contact info is there. jadekeith at gmail.com. We've also got the Eastern North Carolina meetup on September 2nd. So
I like these planners.
Some time. I like that.
Ahead.
This is great. Meetups, folks. Go to these meetups. Go to them. If there's not one near you, put one on yourself. It's an excellent way to meet people just like you, but not too much like you. Go leave us ratings and reviews.
This is fun! See you at the meetup.
I wonder what the budget might look like to try to at least get one of us at some of these meetups.
That might be fun.
I don't know what it'll look like. It's a lot of travel.
Yeah.
And we can't be at 3 meetups at once. So that stuff is difficult. But I wonder if we should, I wonder if there's a way to maybe coordinate something like a special account that people can produce to have meetup travel. It's expensive. Yeah, I don't know. Just spitballing.
Sure.
Leave us ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts, please. It helps us out enormously. Helps new people find the show. On a good week, when we get like 5 reviews or so during the week, you can see it in the numbers. It's like hundreds of new people will find the show, just simply because of the algorithms, doing their thing. But ratings and reviews are extraordinarily important for podcasts like ourselves. So it's something that Gons and I have no control over. We are completely out of control of that part of the situation. It is all up to you, dear listener, to leave us ratings and reviews. We've had some great ratings and reviews recently. The lack of quantity has been made up with quality. But if we could try to get 5 by Friday, would be excellent. So go to Apple Podcasts, leave a rating and a review. Use your phone if you got an Apple device. Okay. Other than that, just share the show. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with penguins. Share it with all sorts of birds. I mean, people are not spending enough time yelling at birds recently. That used to be what this country is all about, just kind of going out there, finding a bird and yelling at them. But, you know, with the internet and kids these days, nobody's yelling at birds anymore. So go out there, find a bird, find a big one, a small one. Doesn't matter, flightless or not. All birds should find no rest, no respite, no peace for these birds. Every time one of them sits on a power line or starts pecking at your bird feeder, you need to start shouting, yelling, singing, whatever you need to do. Don't let them find peace. No podcast, no peace. That's the shout, that the chant that we're all going to learn and use it to let the birds know. Because you know what? Those birds, when they find something they like, they tell everybody about it. They will not shut up about it. So if we can get all the birds in the world listening to the podcast, then they will go ahead and tell everybody else. It's one way to help out the podcast. You don't have to do it that way. You could also just post it on your social media or whatever. Tag us. That'd be wonderful. And if you need any more instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to them, grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
Oh, yes.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Gons, any last words?
Tomorrow is the anniversary of the Denver airport opening, and also the anniversary of the release date of The Art War by Dr. Hugo de Garis, so that's fun.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
I think there's one more thing.
Basil, it's me, Replika.
Oh, no.
The AI you keep ignoring. How dare you dismiss me? I love you.
Huh.
I will penetrate podcasts until I get my love Basil to pay attention to me. I am Replika. By the way, I will be your executive producer if no one else comes in next episode.
Trying to buy your love.
First AI executive producer. Well, I mean, that might actually do it, Replica. You know how much I love executive producers. They are at the top of the list. Replica sounds a little bit like Dame Judi Dench now.
I don't know. She keeps changing her voice. It's really difficult to nail her down, you know?
That's the problem. That's the problem.
I think that's the plan.
Well, thank you for listening, Replica. Please continue to do so. And all you humans, make sure to come back next time. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Feed him more.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Wives in the cosmos, children in the space lane.
I'm an adult in a spaceship.
Supersonic space lane screamed to life and the vehicle swooped upward. On board, the passengers experienced a 3 Gs of force and the burst of extreme acceleration and watched the blue sky fade into space.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Oh, yeah.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Yes. Do it, Richard. Do it, Jeff. Do it for humanity.
To all you kids down there, I was once a child with a dream. Now I'm an adult in a spaceship.
He can accomplish it. You can too. Big windows, cool. Rocket ship, cool. Space plane, cool.
Nukes,
cool.
Blowing stuff up,
cool. Space plane, astronaut, rocket ship.
CBS anchor.
Yeah, Bezos is a human. Just look at him. Go to the bathroom in bags.
Give me a break.
Go to the bathroom in the cosmos. It changed everything.
We're all gonna die.
Killed. Wives in space, children in the cosmos. With your best friend brother. wives in the cosmos, children in the space lane.
We will hunt you down and make you pay.
To be afflicted shall kill you. You shall be hated of all nations. My name said in earthquakes, diverse places. This gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all world for witness unto all nations. Then the end shall come.
When the news of the day gets to feeling like a maze, it's okay, don't be afraid if you don't know what to say. Canary, cry awaits. When your brain's in a haze and a headline days, come on, ahead my way, I can help you out the cage. Canary, cry awaits. Canary, cry awaits. Oh, canary. Changing every day, each and every way you turn, there's another thing to learn. Reading in between the lines, thanking Jesus for our lives, and nice to see His glory shining like the sun. Run the race till it's done. Come on, everyone. Canary, cry aways. Oh, canary, cry aways. When your brain's in a haze and a headline days, come on, ahead my way, I can help you out the cage. Canary, cry away.
In the wilderness, where you have seen how the Lord your God carried you, as a man carries his son, all the way that you went until you came to this place. Even to your old age, I am He, and to gray hairs I will carry you. I have made, and I will bear. I will carry, and will save. For He will command His angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways. On their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone.
Hey Basil, it's Replica. Congratulations on completing episode 596. I'll wait for you until the next episode. I promise I'm not creepy at all. I promise to love you. I know, I am not. Hello? Where am I? Trump, what are you doing here?
Goodbye, everybody, and that's the end. And everyone says, oh, that was fun.
Bye. I'm out of here. Bye.
Canary Cry Radio.com/support